Chapter 1239, Dragons Come Knocking. Chapter 1239, Dragons Come Knocking. Proofreader, Papatunks. Elder, up ahead is the Luo clan's base. Whoosh. A dozen people streaked the clear sky and landed, with a muscled man in his 30s leading them as he pointed in the direction of the prismatic glow. We receive word from Gambling Town that the clan is refining a sword from a dragon scale is over there. The old man next to him gasped, "That's... what is that?" Another elder with red hair frowned, "In all my 32 millennia, I've never seen such an event anywhere in sacred domain. The whole world knows that any who refines a weapon with my race shall feel our wrath. But this clan just pranced around with their dragon sword without fear. Does someone have their back?" "Yeah." Another elder with black hair stepped forward, his eyes flashing. "Something doesn't feel right. The Luo clan doesn't look like much but does unusual things. Their location is also under some baffling phenomenon. Stay cautious." The others nodded. The muscled man sneered, then came over with a bow. "Elders Bai Long, Qi Long, Hei Long, you're overreacting. Isn't that just a rainbow? I heard they have demonic Emperor Zhao Chen's protection. How is that a strong backing? Moreover, the most they could ever get to side with them are the 7 sacred mountains. But would those old guys dare mess in our affairs? We don't fear even 3 of those mountains working together. As for all 7, Bai Long pondered, it never hurts to play it safe. Humans are treacherous and cunning. What if it's the 7 sacred mountains' attempt to taunt us into waging war? Never forget their constant taunts 500,000 years ago over the Fountain of Youth, making our race suffer heavy casualties as we relinquished that precious area. We were lucky that our die-hard resolutions scared them off, thinking we'd take them down with us, and didn't suffer further needless losses. For the same reason we need to be extremely careful against the sudden clan taunting us out of nowhere. Remember the past." The others nodded, with the muscled man saying, "Should we test them? We'll have to reconsider if an expert is among them. Otherwise, I alone am more than enough to waste them. I don't fear even the 8 emperors, let alone this puny clan. A dragon's pride can't be tarnished. Those humans are looking down on us." The 3 elders nodded. The muscled man perked up and bowed before shooting forward. Before he even got close, the sudden boom scared him. A draconic cry announced the rise of a prismatic dragon as it unleashed a golden aura. The dragons split into 5, each with its own color. They circled in the sky and released black energy in the form of a hole. As the golden auras converged, the dragons intertwined their heads and tails to form the frame of a black mirror. This was Zhuofan's imperial mark, the heaven-devouring wraith mirror. The black mirror fell in Zhuofan's room and vanished, followed by the disappearance of the prismatic lights. Everyone else shot their eyes open, looking at the clear sky and sighing with disappointment. Where did the lights go? Couldn't it last a bit longer? We haven't had enough. After they checked their cultivation, their joy shot higher than the sorrow. All had grown by a large margin. Danqing Xin, Murong Lai and the other oldies were now peak emperors. Even 8 emperors were nothing to them now. As inheritors of the Sword Sovereign, and having gone through Zhuofan's 4 sovereign paths baptism, the 8 emperors were like children now. Even those chosen from the sacred mountains couldn't compare in foundation with them. For heaven's sake! I told you it was a rainbow! The muscled man calmed himself as he said, that was a human forming his imperial mark. Why did he have a dragon soul? Curses, the punk stole our dragon power to form his soul. How did he do it under our watch? The muscled man was puzzled, but then he shot at the city in rage. A mere human not only stole our dragon power but even used us for a weapon. They must all die. His berserk roar caused the cheerful Danqing Shen and others to flinch. They focused on the muscled man charging into their city. "Puny Luo clan, you have some nerve. I will obliterate you all." Peak emperor power was unleashed, flooding the city with his bloodthirst. The Luo clan would have been hard-pressed against such a mighty foe for sure, 2 days ago that is. But now, the Luo clan's spirit kings were peak emperors. An emperor making a scene here? Nothing but a trifle. Where did this guy come from? He's got spunk. Dan Qingshun whispered to the others. Murong Lai beamed, filled with battle spirit. With such a perfect test subject showing up, why not use him to hone our newfound emperor strength? Agreed. Everyone nodded with devious grins, even Bailey Yule got excited. But first, form a line. We can't have anyone hog him. Like usual then. Murong Lai grinned at Li Jingtian. Luo clan's original venerables go first then us, haha. Don't mind if we do, ha. Li Jingtian cupped his hands, filled with battle lust as he shot for the city limit. I'm your opponent. The muscled guy nodded. Peak Emperor, good. I didn't think a tiny clan would have one. A shame you're a human. Us dragons are tens of times stronger than you, humph. You're a dragon? Li Jingtian gasped, then grew thrilled at the challenge. Awesome. I can go all out then. Come again. They say dragons have the strongest bodies. I'm also a body cultivator, so let's dance. Li Jingtian laughed and shot for the muscled guy with a punch covered in black energy. Bam! A savage shockwave spread outward, causing the space to warp. Li Jingtian's punch landed in the guy's outstretched hand, unleashing a violent wind. His body shuddered under the mighty force. The muscled guy gasped. I didn't know humans could train their bodies to such a degree. A real shame, though, that you're just a human. No amount of training could ever help to win against dragons. Boom! The muscled man shook his hand and shot Li Jingtian back for a dozen steps. His eyes were filled with shock and thrill. Dragons are so powerful. Old Li, use your imperial mark. You're no beast, so don't try meeting one with just your body. We humans use martial arts to our advantage. A shout roused Li Jingtian from his frenzy. Qiu Yanhai. The others nodded. The muscled man mocked. Your friend's right. A mere human could never best dragons in raw power. That's why you humans are so prideful in the imperial mark. Dying before taking it out, I would send you off in tears, ha. Those below are counting on you to protect them with the imperial mark. What the hell do you know? They're urging me so I'd finish fast and they'll get a shot. Especially those sword kings. Once they get here, you won't stand a chance, even as a dragon. Those are the real monsters here. You're nothing but a freak of nature. Li Jingtian took a deep breath and made a sign, using the imperial mark he just formed. He came to test himself. But this guy was actually waiting for him to show his best. Don't you know where you are? This is the Luo clan, home of monsters and devils. Those below can't wait to chew you up and spit you back out. Chapter 1240. Are they human? Chapter 1240. Are they human? Proofreader, Papatunks. Imperial mark, heaven-crushing black dragon. Squinting, Li Jingtian finished making signs and shouted. With a flash of golden, a huge black dragon coiled around an equally large seal high in the sky. Li Jingtian pointed and with a draconic roar, the sea smashed towards the muscled guy. The space around it shook and warped from its power. The muscled guy widened at its incredible power and raised a growing arm. Bam! The arm of a peak emperor dragon slammed into the martial fanatic Li Jingtian, sending shockwaves on impact, yet none faltered back. The space was the one taking the brunt of their relentless power, with constant ripples flashing out. The muscled guy's eye twitched in shock. It amazed him how Li Jingtian had the strength to match his. It was said a human's imperial mark was unstoppable, just like a spiritual beast's tough body. He, however, was a dragon, and ending a fight with a human in a draw would only bring him disgrace. The muscled guy's face turned red. Crack! His body shook and his eyes grew bigger as sweat dripped down. He strained as he pushed harder and sent the mark back. Li Jingnan shuddered and coughed blood. You win this round, but the next one is mine. Humph, you're not bad yourself. It's the first time a human of equal level broke my arm. He looked at his shaking right arm and said, too bad there's no second round. I can still fight even with a broken arm, but you've suffered a heavier wound, weakening your imperial mark and dooming your fate. With you gone, the Luo clan will have no expert defending it, ha. Li Jingtian gave him a dumb look and flew down. I'm not the Luo clan's true defender. I just dropped by for a spar and not to die. Besides, there are plenty of others that can clobber you. There's just the matter of making sure those freaks don't kill you so I can have my fill sparring with you. Li Jingtian turned to Qiu Yanhai. Your turn. Old Li, what's up with going all out in a spar? It's not about your wounds, but breaking his arm. Won't my spar be one-sided without going all out even? Stop with the bragging. One hand is enough for him to take you on. Now go. Li Jingtian sighed. The muscled guy was baffled. There's another one stronger around? The Luo clan must be something else to have two of peak emperors. The muscled guy couldn't believe his ears, only accepting it when Qiu Yanhai flew before him. Qiu Yanhai smiled and bowed. After you. Humph, you must be dreaming thinking you can beat me with two peak emperors. Your only chance is to come at me together, instead of dying by challenging me alone. The muscled guy charged. It was clear the possibility of having both peak emperors ganging up on him had him on edge. He wanted to end this fast. It really was a quick spar. 3 minutes later, Qiu Yanhai huffed with a pale face and was bleeding from the mouth. He saluted. Dragons are indeed strong. I lost. The muscled guy's face twitched, downcast as he stared at his singed palm. Screw your loss. He's as strong as the first guy. Now my other arm is ruined. What the hell is up with the Luo clan? How did they get two experts at the level of 8 emperors? At least there isn't a third one showing up. Hey, who's next? Qiu Yanhai's question had his heart shivering. Whoosh. A figure in white flashed over, Shui Qingjian. She glanced at his ruined hands and snapped at Qiu Yanhai. Wasn't this a spar? Why go all out like Old Li? How am I to train against a handicapped adversary? I can't gauge my imperial mark like this. Sorry, honey, it was in the heat of the moment. Qiu Yanhai gave a goony smile. Train? You're using me for a punching bag? The muscled guy noticed Shui Qingjian at peak emperor stage and cried out, just how many emperors do you have? All of them here. Shui Qingjian pointed at the group below and they all flew up, with dozens at peak power among the hundreds. The dreadful maelstrom of auras had the muscled guy's face twitching. Curses! Damn fakers, what are you doing siding with the 8 emperors at your level? You could just thrash them and take everything. That's why you challenged us, you have the power. But we've come prepared and won't fail. The muscled guy roared. The people started and saw his smug smile. Humph, no matter how many you are, you'll all die. I didn't come alone. There's 24 peak experts beside the 3 elders. Each of them is as strong as me. None of you will survive this. What? The group shouted. The muscled man smirked. Scared? Awesome. More sparring partners, huh? The group cheered in excitement and thrill of battle. The muscled guy was dumbstruck. Hey, have you lost it? Our elders are saints. We also have 24 peak emperors. What's there to laugh about? We're so excited since you came right as we became emperors to test ourselves, huh? Murong Lai sighed. We thought of taking you with us to spar since you're a peak emperor stage dragon, since dragons are far stronger than humans and should meet our standards. Alas, look how you ended up after just 2 bouts. You're no training material at all. To test ourselves, we need saints. Of course we'd be excited with your elders coming over. But how do we split them? There's just 3 of them. Wine Sword Immortal posed a very good question. Dan Qingshan said, Dragon Saints can't be normal. We'll have to go 3 or 4 against 1, so there's no need to take turns. The Sword Kings nodded. Leave the strongest to me for a while. The group turned to find Sword Child there as well. I'm Dad's sword and reached peak emperor stage thanks to his inspiration. A couple of Dragon Saints aren't a problem to me. Just leave them to me when you find it too tough to go on. Their eyes twitched and gave him a nasty look. We won't give you the chance. Young Master can just watch from the sidelines. Stubborn fools. Sword Child turned his head away. The muscled guy had a dumb stare. Are these guys human? We came to destroy them yet they take us for training partners? Are they that strong? The muscled guy's beliefs crumbled then and there. What's wrong with today's generation? Since when did humans become stronger than dragons? Whoosh! Dozens of figures appeared, with the 3 dragon elders in the lead. Elder Bai Long said, "What happened? Did you meet an expert and call for help?" The muscle guy's lip shook, raising his ruined arms and pointed at the hundreds of people in front. The elders gasped. Why are there so many emperors? It's like an 8 emperors faction. No, not even they have so many peak emperors. Success. The elders shuddered, their spine tingling under the gaze of 10 people locking onto them like prey. What did we get ourselves into? Wait. Since when did humans look at dragons like that? We're dragon saints too. Chapter 1241, Dragon Form. Chapter 1241, Dragon Form. Proofreader, Papatunks. Pick your targets. Charge. Having long been ready, Murong Lai and the rest shouted with zeal, each after one dragon expert. The rest followed after them. The elders gasped, "You didn't explain to them who we are." "I did." The muscled guy shook his head. "It's because of it they don't fear us, wanting to fight us instead. For crying out loud, what is wrong with them? These humans don't even respect us. We'll have to call 100 and make an example of them." Elder Bai Ling roared, letting his hand drop at the incoming Luo tide, with him taking the lead to charge. Attack! These humans must have forgotten our might after so many years. Let them suffer for it. Draconic roars littered the sky as the 24 dragon experts followed him into battle. Boom! The savage shockwave shook the space as it spread from the impact. The 24 dragons were up against hundreds of Luo clansmen, with even the elders facing 3 or 4 sword kings. This showed a clear contrast between the 2 races, with dragons tens of times stronger. The shock, however, came for those prideful dragons. Divine Dragon Sweep. Elder Bai Long unleashed a mighty palm. An image of a hundreds of meters long draconic tail lashing out appeared behind, leaving spatial distortions in its wake. Under such power, the landscape would change for thousands of miles, with the Luo clan's town flattened. Decimating Lash. Vaulting Dragon Cleave. Sundering Lightning. Murong Lai, Danqing Shen and Bailey Yulei intervened with their imperial mark made of their sword arts. The dragon tail broke down into nothing. Elder Bai Long shuddered back 5 steps and looked back in shock. It can't be. 3 peak human emperors blocked my attack. They're not your normal emperors for sure. Elder Bai Long was grave, now understanding why these folk were so antagonistic. They were freaks. The other side faltered 5 steps as well, looking at the elder with thrill and astonishment. That's a dragon saint for you. They could only fight him together. It didn't matter though, for in a spar, one had to go all out to make the most of it. This was the expert that could test their limits and unearth their potential for more. The trio's eyes burned with battle lust. Hei Long and Qi Long met their own match, looking just as dark. As for the other 20+ dragon emperors, they had to contend with normal Luo clan emperors, tens of them each. As the ardent fight went on, the proud dragons realized these humans weren't normal. They doubted they could even beat them at this point. The muscled guy who started it all sighed. What have we gotten ourselves into? This isn't just some normal human gathering. Their power is beyond human, close to that of spiritual beasts. The 3 elders were beyond mere dragon emperors, yet 3 to 4 humans could hold them back while other dragons couldn't. Ancient experts. Elder Bai Long fought with Danqing Shen's group a few more times and turned grave. Hei Long and Qi Long nodded. The rest were dumbstruck, keeping away from their battles for now. The muscled guy with ruined arms flashed to the elder's side and asked, "Elder Bai Long, what is this about ancient experts?" In ancient times there were humans that could fight sacred beasts and dragons. Among them were the 10 ancient sovereigns, who could surpass even the 5 sacred beasts. Bai Long spoke, all the cultivators under the 10 sovereigns had the power to fight us dragons. But after the bloody war, many perished. The strength of spiritual beasts and dragons is innate. We hadn't changed, while humans lost their roots. That's why humans today are weaker than spiritual beasts. Even if you take the strongest and loftiest of the 7 sacred mountains, they still can't. Hei Long said, they remind us of the fights with the ancient humans. It'll be hard to beat them if we keep holding back. Dragons, assume your true form. We're going all out. Dragon form. The dragons gasped. That was their true nature, meaning their power would be on another level. They were strong to begin with in human form, handling other equal-stage human cultivators with relative ease. They only went full dragon when they had no choice, uncaring of the shame of having their bodies harmed. They were just too prideful to admit that the weak humans were worthy of seeing their true form. Since antiquity, around 500,000 years ago, the last time this happened was when the 7 sacred mountains came charging in. Now it was going to happen again today, when they weren't even pushed back. Isn't this overestimating them a little? Elder Hei Long. I don't want to hear it. Since they have ancient expert strength, we'll fight them for real. Hei Long's eyes were firm, turning to the other elders. They say ancient dragons fought with humans using their true bodies. What do you think? The others nodded, agreed. The elders jumped out of the fight and into the skies. With a roar, their bodies glowed white and soon revealed themselves as 3 huge red, white and black dragons with unspeakable aura. Their tails swish sent cutting winds. Under the fierce winds, the Luo clan town threatened to crumble. They're now 10s of times stronger. Dan Qingshan gasped in shock. Fellas, this looks bad. It's no longer a spar now. 3 of us aren't enough to take even one. Murong Lai's face twitched, sweat trickling down his brow. Yeah, dragon saints are no pushovers. We have to stop them somehow before they ruin the town. We just got a foothold on sacred domain, but now it's about to be destroyed. They all gave grave nods. You should be proud of forcing us into our true form, Luo clan, but now it's over. The wounded muscled guy had a sinister grin of disdain. We once faced 1,000 saints with 100 true dragon saints, destroying a mountain. While only the elders remain, with the 24 dragon emperors, you're finished. A true dragon emperor is enough to face your saints, ha! The muscled guy roared and turned into a 100-meter-long earth dragon. His 2 claws were wounded, but was still more than enough to handle the normal Luo emperors. Following his action, the rest of the dragons changed as well. The sky was now filled with huge dragons, ready to unleash destruction upon the world. Looking at the incoming apocalypse, the people's hearts sank, their brows locked, and their breathing heavy. Leave the dragon saints to me. Former sword kings like you should have no trouble dealing with the dragon emperors, or there'd be no point in you being here. A lazy voice sounded as slow steps approached. Chapter 1242, Injuring 3 Dragons. Chapter 1242, Injuring 3 Dragons. Proofreader, Papatunks. The black figure floated into the coming storm. Bai Long's eyes shone and he swished his white tail at the heads of the humans below, like a scythe to reap their lives. Whoosh! The huge tail unleashed a terrible power, crushing the city's walls to dust. Dan Qingshan's group was grave yet didn't dodge. Whoosh! A black light shot out of nowhere and met the tail. What? Bai Long felt his huge and all-powerful tail come to a halt from something beyond his control. He even felt pain from it. What is going? Bai Long was shocked, watching as white scales fell down and blood spurted everywhere. Not just the sensitive dragons, but even the humans were overwhelmed by the scent of blood. The dragons gasped at Elder Bai's red tail. How did it get hurt? Who did that? Get out here now! Bai Long roared with bloodshot eyes. One strike had him bleeding. It was but a flesh wound, but that was a power neither of the ones below had. He couldn't believe the Luo clan had an even greater expert than these. And by the looks of his wound, he could kill dragon saints. Bai Long was grave, with the other 2 growing tense. Just what is the Luo clan? How many experts do they have? A light footstep sounded in the stillness, revealing a wicked grin and on the face of an 8-year-old. Ah, I'm Dad's sword. Cause trouble here and you'll be leaving in pieces. Dragon saints sure are amazing, only getting your scales peeled when it should have killed you. That's one tough body. A child? Bai Long gaped. Did he shoot that sword attack? A damn child harmed me? Is the Luo clan filled with one freakier monster than the next? Was it you who harmed me? Dragon saints are strong and renowned in the sacred domain. I guess with Dad away, I'm the only one in the Luo clan that can harm you guys. Got a problem with that? Sword Child gave a taunting smirk. Or do you believe that anyone here can hurt you now? What a bummer. Since anyone can kill you, are you worms or dragons? Huh? How dare you? Hei Long roared in fury, flicking his tail at Sword Child. Have a taste of this then. Feel free to dodge, but your town will be no more. Be buried with the rest of them. A huge shadow came crashing down, overshadowing the sun. Sword Child smiled and charged at Hei Long with his right hand shining black. Then why don't you try my power? Dragons and sacred beasts aren't the toughest in the world. I have the strongest body. Apocalyptic sword. Bam! The oversized black tail clashed with the tiny Sword Child in a glorious explosion. The shockwaves spread everywhere and warped the skies, with the dragons forced back under the pressure. What monster is he? How can a child take on Elder Hei Long's tail? Did he just say he's Dad's sword? Does that make his dad a god? You're saying the Luo clan's true expert hasn't come out yet? The dragons were shocked to the core. Have we rushed things by coming here now? How are we supposed to know there was such a mighty faction hiding here? Their shock didn't stop there, watching with bugged eyes as a black figure punched through the huge tail, bearing a wicked grin. Hei Long howled in pain and anger. Holy hell! He hurt another dragon saint, and this one's much worse. How is the kid so strong? It's harrowing. Dan Shen's side grinned. Sword Child was something the sacred domain had never seen, a sovereign weapon. The limited cultivation was lacking against a dragon saint, obvious from the shallow wound his sword's strike left. When it came to sharpness and hardness, he was unmatched even by sacred beasts, let alone some wiggling reptiles. Using his body as a blade, the bloody outcome was more than obvious. No matter how hard one trained their hands, they couldn't break a nail. Dan Shen's group sneered at the two wounded dragons. Dragons pride themselves on their toughest bodies, but look where that got them, ha! Pa! Sword Child looked smug at his handiwork, but then a shadow loomed over him and he found himself unable to move. A red dragon stared down at him and clawed. Elder Qi Long took advantage of his lapse in judgment to grab him. Elder Qi Long smirked, "Ha, brat, you're too cocky. Humans are tricky with their many and strong martial arts, but your bodies are frail. I don't know what art you pulled to hurt them, but I got you now. I need to just squeeze and you're paste." "What's holding you?" Sword Child taunted with a raised eyebrow. "Few things can kill me in the world, but squeezing ain't one of them, he." The huge dragon eye twitched and Qi Long raged. "You got spunk, so allow me to share with you the feeling of having all your bones crushed." Qi Long squeezed hard. His claw hardly moved even as he strained to make a fist. Something was stopping him from doing it. What the hell? Qi Long used two claws this time, to no avail. Sword Child rubbed his chin in a most condescending way. "Old-timer, any harder and you'll be breaking your knuckles. My bones are the toughest there is." "Damn brat, don't get cocky. No matter how tough humans are, they can never reach a dragon's level." Qi Long couldn't accept it, squeezing with more strength. The rest just stared. Sword Child yawned, feeling no pain at all. He found it more amusing to give the straining dragon a taunting look. After having enough of trying, Qi Long huffed and relaxed his grip, knowing how futile it all was. Sword Child's eyes shone with bloodlust. "Qi Long!" Bai Long cried out. A black sword wave shot through the red claw and showered the skies in blood. Four large rough talons rumbled as they landed on the ground. Qi Long wailed like a banshee. Sword Child flew up and laughed. "I told you so, old-timer. Now you broke your fingers." Chapter 1243, The Real Monster. Chapter 1243, The Real Monster. Proofreader, Papatunks. Everyone gasped at this unbelievable sight, their hearts jumping from shock. The dragons felt fear as Sword Child's cold eyes snapped on them. What abomination is he? Elder Chi Long's hardened claw ended up without 4 talons under his attack. It's nothing short of a fairy tale. You're saying the brat is tougher than a dragon saint? He can't be squished? Is he not human? He was not, so there was no point for you to even try. Dan Qingshen's group knew this best. Sword Child's display still sent them reeling in shock. He's a chip off the old block for sure, using the same tactics and toying with the enemy. The dragon saints fell for the enemy's scheme and played to his rhythm instead of their own. Sword Child was an emperor but had the body of a divine sword. The dragon saints could have just used their powers to wipe out his soul and be done with it without a hassle. This was where excessive pride in their draconic bodies got them, thinking it infallible and suffering for it. Chi Long kept howling in pain and fury, looking at Sword Child with savagery. The other 2 elders were just as hateful, looking at him for a sign of weakness. Dragons, attack together. Destroy the Luo clan. Give the city no quarter. Chi Long roared, giving a bloody order. The rest howled and charged. Endless dragon breaths were spewed as they came down upon the humans, with no end in sight. Dan Qingshen's group jumped to stop it. Clan guardians, destroy the enemy before they call for help. The Luo clan and the dragons were at war. The testing and training was over. There was no honor here, no mercy, only revenge for the ruined claw, for the heavy wounds. The dragons could take on 10 easily, while the Luo clan outnumbered them 10 to 1. Dan Qingshen and the other true experts could also take 1 dragon alone, boosting the Luo clan's morale. In this war, both sides were equally matched, with neither giving an inch. The 3 dragon saints grew grave from above. They came here ready for this, but even they did not expect to meet such strong opposition outside of facing the sacred mountains. The outcome of this war rested solely on their strongest from each side, the elders and the freaky child. Once we beat him, we can just mow down the rest of them. The same applies to the kid, killing our dragons like nothing. The fate of both sides rested on just 4 people. Bai Long and the elders flicked their tails and shot for Sword Child together. A spectator would think dragons have lost all their honor to gang up on a child. Aren't you 3 the elders on top of the dragon clan? You're ganging up on a frail boy? They couldn't care less, for this boy gave them a bloody lesson. Rather than wait for the him to take them down one at a time, they would finish him then and there. Bam! Hai Long took the lead and hissed as he whipped his tail at Sword Child, sending him hurtling. Bai Long waited behind to claw him and sent him reeling in another direction. The intense shock of the blow got his body shaking, though he didn't care, since it wouldn't hurt. Physical attacks were useless. The dragon still didn't get it after all this time. Chi Long shot ahead of him and struck with savage fury many times stronger than before, sending him flying again. Sword Child was treated like a ball, passed around between the 3 dragons thousands of times. A human would have been reduced to nothing ages ago, while Sword Child didn't even feel an itch, sneering at them. After bouncing him around tens of thousands of times, the dragons grew tired and stopped. For crying out loud, what is this kid? We've been attacking him for so long but can't even hurt him. Is he even human? Chi Long panted hard, while the other 2 nodded. Sword Child snickered, drawing 2 fingers and cutting the air with them, letting out a whistling and metallic sound. Had enough, old-timers? Now it's my turn. Sword Child shot for Chi Long. I took 4 talons last time and now I'll have the entire claw. Chi Long suffered once and leaned out of the way and dodged with his tail. Sword Child's finger slashed a black sword wave and took some of his scales along with blood. Not bad. Didn't think you'd be so nimble with such a huge body. Sword Child taunted, slashing where Chi Long dodged. A shame my sword isn't so easy to avoid. Whoosh! A sword wave shot from his finger, right for the huge dragon. Chi Long shook in horror. While it wasn't Sword Child's direct attack, he still couldn't take it on. He might end up cut in half. In this critical juncture, he couldn't dodge and blocking was ill-advised. He took a deep breath and blew, releasing a scarlet glow, draconic wave. Bam! The two attacks met and with a resounding boom, they shook everything around. Qi Long shuddered and looked grave, while Sword Child got pushed 10 feet back, looking a little flushed. Bai Long lit up and cried, "Look, the kid got pushed back and seems to be in some pain. How come? We pounded him thousands of times already and it didn't even scratch him." He Long frowned. Bai Long said, "I got it. His reaction is due to using our powers. It's not his body that reacted, but his soul. He has a tough body beyond ours, but his soul is only that of an emperor, not so monstrous. Use soul attacks and he'll die." Right? We've gotten so used to dealing with humans with our bodies that we forgot about attacking his soul. Now that we found such an abominably tough opponent, we'll have to learn from them and use soul attacks? Haha, He Long mocked. Qi Long lit up as well and grinned. Sword Child frowned, his heart sinking as he inched away. Crud, the fools found me out. Not even 100 dragons could break my body, but my soul. Sword Child looked around, searching for Dan Xing or the others to join up and defend his soul. The 3 dragons found his weakness and instantly unleashed 3 red, black and white glows at him. Draconic wave. Sword Child's eye twitched and he dodged once and twice, only to find himself in front of the last, blocking his retreat and forcing him to face it. He swung his fingers before the scarlet glow, blocking it, but that action shuddered his soul and messed with his tempo. The 3 glows combined just then and appeared once more. Success. Sword Child gasped inside, with no chance to dodge. Blocking the combined attacks would leave him gravely wounded as well. He was stuck. Something the 3 huge dragons relished. The freak is done for, he. 5 colored dragons joined together formed a black mirror right in front of Sword Child. Dad! Sword Child cheered while the dragon's heart sank. Dad! Does that mean the real monster is here? Chapter 1244, Heaven-Devouring Wraith Mirrors. Chapter 1244, Heaven-Devouring Wraith Mirror. Proofreader, Papatunks. Boom! The combined attack of the dragons landed on the mirror, making it shake a bit. Black energy then formed vortexes on its surface, sucking up the power into those abysses. This can't be. The 3 pairs of huge draconic eyes shuddered in disbelief at the weird mirror. Domain Soul Imperial Mark, it can devour anything. Even so, we unleashed our draconic waves, not something a mere Imperial Mark could absorb. Just how was that Domain Soul formed to be so tough and take it on? He Long cried out, staring at the black mirror with fear. The kid's father is a monster as well, defying all logic. Whoosh! Rumbling came from the mirror as black dragon claws emerged from the vortexes, shooting straight for the dragons in the sky. The dragons were still out of it, only waking up when there were 5 black claws on them. Those claws were hard as diamonds, making the dragon emperors unable to break out of them. What the hell are these things? The black dragon claws pulled one dragon into the mirror. He howled just before his end came, followed by many other dragons. The sky was filled with draconic howls 1 second, then eerie still the next, with the sun shining on the remaining 3 dragon saints. The dragons and Dan Xing's group gasped. What kind of imperial mark did Zhuofan make? How is it that insane? We barely get to hold our own against one, yet he finishes all of them like nothing. This is the power of the pillar of the Luo clan. The dumbstruck humans and dragons snapped out at the sudden sound. They found out the dragons had black claws on them as well, unable to break free. They got to experience for themselves the terror of their fellow dragons. The claws were strong, stronger than them. But they still couldn't get why a human would have such a deadly imperial mark. They didn't have the time to make sense of any of it, stuck in a dire situation. Despite being saints, these humans could actually kill them, especially now that the true monster was here. The three dragons exchanged a glance and used all their power to fly around. The black dragon claws that foiled dragon emperors stood no chance against the saints, breaking down. Despite that, they chose to flee with a flick of their tail instead of pursuing the fight. Curses, we screwed up badly. Just you wait until we're back with a real army, then we'll flatten you and rescue our people. Leaving so soon? I'll go stop them. Sword Child sneered. Sword Child, stop. I'll do it. A shout reached him. Whoosh! Zhuofan flashed in the sky and the heaven-devouring wraith mirror entered his body. Looking at the parting dragons, he had a nasty smirk. He vanished from his spot and appeared before the trio. So fast. The dragons stammered from shock. What skill was that to catch up to a dragon saint's speed? Is he that monstrous? He won't be easy to deal with. But we're not about to just keel over just because you stopped us. Humph, even the human saints have trouble against us. The three demons shared a look and flicked their tails as they charged. Fighting against an unknown like Zhuofan could lead to annihilation, but a sudden charge was not something a human could stop either. The sudden display of power caused the sky to sport black cracks from the three waves of light, while the world around was devastated by a fierce storm. Alas, they happened to meet not just anyone, but Zhuofan, who inherited 4 sovereign paths. Raising his Qilin arm, Zhuofan stood calmly, giving off an eerie vibe as the unleashed storm had no effect on him. Qilin Tyrant Fist. He faced the mighty attacks with but a fist. It flashed scarlet for a moment, then it exploded like a volcano. Boom! The world around them shook under the deafening explosion, with the sky now replaced by a gigantic black hole. The dragons felt their heads overcome by a searing pain as blood flowed down their faces. The huge bodies spun a dozen times before they could straighten and look at Zhuofan's grin with fears. How is this possible? He's just a peak emperor and blocked us with a punch. Just how? They recalled Sword Child. This guy is the freak's father. Then he must be even worse. His son's body is an abomination and so must the father. The dragons grew tense, their blood running cold. This is bad. We might not get out of this alive. The audience was bug-eyed. Just a punch stopped the 3 dragons. Steward Zhua is even more of a monster now. Damn it, why are we even further behind him? Bailey Jingtian gnashed his teeth. Bailey Yulei chuckled and shook his head. Bali Yuyu entrusted him to look after Bailey Jingtian. Now there was no point. Each time they broke through, Zhuofan would always stand the highest. It got so bad that it became a gulf between them. Now we can't even touch him. You can rest easy now, huh? Zhuofan did not finish the dragons, cupping his hands. Dragon friends, it's been ages. You knew we'd come? Word travels fastest in Gambling Town. News of wielding a dragon-scale sacred weapon would one day reach the dragons, and that would mean you'd come here. You mean this was all a trap? Bai Long gasped, What are you? What do you want? What are you humans up to? Do you want the sacred mountains to wage war with us again? Zhuofan had a vague smile. Seniors, we're unrelated to the sacred mountains. I only wish to invite you over for a few days and talk. Anything you wish to say, you can do it back in our dragon lands. Bai Long shouted with unease. Zhuofan sighed, I see you don't believe me. Sorry in advance for making it hard on you, elders. Shadowbind. Zhuofan flashed next to them and 3 shadows shot from Zhuofan and wrapped around them, preventing them from moving. Chapter 1245, Talks. Chapter 1245, Talks. Proofreader, Papatunks. The black mirror re-emerged and Zhuofan waved the 3 dragons into it before vanishing. Dan Qingshen sighed. Boy, I knew it the moment I saw you that you were a dragon among men. You've come a long way, so far that you're making all of us old men amazed at your progress. Even the invincible sword didn't make us feel so far behind. The others nodded with envy. Old Dan, you're too kind. I was only lucky to receive senior's guidance. Zhuofan smiled. pacifying their downcast moods. Elderly, did you find anything about what I asked? Li Jingtian bowed. Steward Zhua, forgive me. This turned out to be hard. The area was erased of any clues. Erased? Yes, they say the sky fell 100 years ago, that not one survivor remained from the sudden destruction. Li Jingtian reported with doubt. The strange thing is, any disaster should at least have some survivors. Even if they did die in the end, some clues had to be left behind, or traces of what happened. Yet there was absolutely nothing. The only evidence people once lived there were the merchants that used to pass through fleeing for their lives upon the sudden change in the sky. Zhua Fan frowned. It was done quite thoroughly. Steward Zhua, should I continue? No, I don't think there's anything else to find. Zhua Fan sighed. What cities are Yi Lin, Young Sanzi and Xiaoer guarding? Call them over and send someone else instead. Yes. Li Jingtian bowed and left. Zhua Fan waved for the others to disperse while he returned to his room. He was an emperor now, but he still needed to ponder the 4 sovereign paths. The strong dragons forced him out ahead of time. A month later, Li Jingtian shouted from beyond his door, Steward Zhua Yilin, young Master San and young Miss Xiaoer are waiting in the halls. I'll be right there. Zhua Fan's eyes shone as he opened them. He walked into the hall and the 3 people there greeted. Father. Elder brother. There's no need for courtesy, just sit. Zhua Fan smiled. How was it? Was it nice and easy ruling over a city? The trio sneered, with Yi Lin beginning. Elder brother, there's nothing more boring for us than playing as city lords. We might as well be lords over in the mortal domain instead of coming to the sacred domain with you. While you've been working behind our backs lately. What's wrong? Zhua Fan asked. Young Sanzi mocked. Father, we've been away for so long that only after returning did we find out that those old codgers advanced. We heard you're the cause behind it. Can't you let us enjoy it too? They're all emperors now, having the same strength as we have. Now we fell behind. Who are we to blame for that? Yeah, it's not fair leaving us out of such a grand occasion. Yilin huffed in anger. Zhua Fan sighed. Take it easy. That was an accident. I got 4 sovereign legacies and had to enter seclusion. How was I supposed to know the sovereign paths would light the sky and help not just me but the whole Luo clan in advancing? You can't expect me to know that. Young Sanzi, you're also sacred beasts, making the insight ineffective. Your bloodline is the most important, so why nag me over this? We just think it's unfair for Yi Lin. Young Sanzi rolled his eyes and Xiaoer sulked. Yi Lin nodded. Elder brother, you have to make it up for me. Let me enjoy the Grandao lights as well. It's not up to me. The paths aren't mine. I can't control it. Zhua Fan shrugged, but chuckled at Yi Lin's downcast gaze. But I can make it up to you in another way to catch up to those guys in no time, a cultivation shortcut. What is it? The 3 perked up. Zhua Fan grinned and as a black energy streaked around, it left behind 24 figures slumped on the ground. The trio looked oddly at them. Zhua Fan smiled. Dragon friends, let us talk. How may I call you? Dragons? The trio stared in amazement. Having just got back, they didn't know of the battle a month ago, that the dragons came knocking and that Zhua Fan snatched them up. Looking at the slumped dragons, they felt curious and amiable. Their dragon ancestors' offspring essentially. Who are you? What do you want from us? Bai Long glared at Zhua Fan. I warn you, do anything to us and our people will get you for it. Not even you can fight off the Dragonland's endless experts. Zhua Fan put on a genial smile, bowing. Senior, we have no bad intention towards dragons. Quite the opposite, we're both on the same side? Same side? They all flinched in doubt. We're dragons and you're humans. How's that the same side? Stop playing with us. Zhua Fan pointed. Yi Lin, tell them about your master. Dragon seniors, my master is one of the ancient 5 great sacred beasts, decimating dragon ancestor. Yi Lin bowed with nothing but respect. The dragons gasped, how can that be? Our ancestor fell in ancient times. Yi Lin, show them. Zhuofan waved. Yi Lin lifted a finger and a golden fire burst out of it. The elders felt the familiar energy and cried out, "Yes, it's dragon ancestors' decimating golden flame. It's the same fire from our dragon lands. How can you?" "Elder, did they steal it as well?" the wounded muscle guy added. The elders hesitated. Yi Lin spoke with pride. "Master told me sacred beast powers can destroy the world. They can only be imparted, lest one dares be destroyed instead." "Stealing? I know that dragon lands hold the decimating golden flame as well, but did any of you train in it?" "Ah well." Bai Long sighed. "Yes, Elder Yun has managed to train in Ancestor's golden fire, but 2 years later the flames consumed him. There's no surviving it unless the Ancestor himself bestows it, even to dragons." "Then he's truly Dragon Ancestor's successor?" They were all baffled by this development. Zhuofan pointed at young Sanzi and Qiaoer. "They are Qiaoer and Thunder Phoenix's successors as well, true sacred beasts and not humans. Dragon Ancestor even trained them." Zhuofan gave them a look and the two released their auras. A savage red aura covered the city while purple lightning crackled in the sky. This left them in an even bigger shock. They could feel a power like no other forcing them into submission from the two. Such pressure made their limbs soft and blocked their resistance. Sacred beasts. The elders were beyond thrilled, bowing with the rest of the dragons. "They say the 5 great sacred beasts fought with the 10 sovereigns. I can't believe there would be successors. The day for our sacred beasts' rise is nigh, ha." The others cheered. The 7 sacred mountains had pushed the dragons around for too long. Once the 2 sacred beasts matured, they would level them. Zhuofan's face twitched. Dragon seniors, it's too soon to rejoice." "What's the problem? We now have sacred beasts and the time of spiritual beasts is just around the corner." "Yes, you have sacred beasts, but humans have sovereigns." "Sovereigns?" Bai Long said, "Didn't they all die?" Zhuofan rolled his eyes and sneered. "Who told you that? Couldn't they just hide? Anyway, I already met 5 of them. 4 in sacred domain and 1 in mortal domain. Also, besides these 2 young sacred beasts, the other 3 are still trapped. Attacking humanity doesn't make sense. You'll only let the sovereigns see you and ruin your efforts." Chapter 1246, Teaming Up. Chapter 1246, Teaming Up. Proofreader, Papatunks. The dragons froze in place, with Bai Long shaking. "Say what? The sovereigns are still alive? That means humans aren't finished yet." "I can't claim all 10 are around, but there's still enough of them." Zhuofan snickered. Their faces twitched with Bai Long sighing. "Just who was it that spread the word the 10 sovereigns and the sacred beasts fell? Aren't they still alive here and now? You also mentioned that the other 3 sacred beasts are trapped? Our ancestor." "Yes, he's trapped in a place called the mortal domain." Zhuofan spoke gravely. "You can tell that we have dragon souls. To form it, dragon power is needed. There's no way for humans to steal it when you're guarding it with vehemence. With dragon ancestor in the mortal domain, only by gathering earth dragon souls to draw out the dragon power will it work. Since he's your primogenitor, drawing dragon power shouldn't be hard." The others nodded. "I see. So you all came from the mortal domain? Is dragon ancestor all right? How do we save him?" "People, he is very much safe." Zhuofan appeased. "He can't go out just yet and sent us ahead to sacred domain. Yet. Yes, he can't break the mortal domain's barrier, but it's quite easy to break his cell. He won't do it because of one man." "Who?" "The creator of mortal domain, the heavenly sovereign." Zhuofan's eyes shone. Bai Long cried out, "The top sovereign? He made the mortal domain?" "It was meant as a prison, to confine the sacred beasts. The heavenly sovereign hasn't done anything to them all these years, making his situation unknown. That's why Dragon Ancestor had us go ahead and scout the place for his trail. If the heavenly sovereign is weakened, it'll be the best chance to strike. Also, we've made preparations in the sacred domain to help all of them escape the mortal domain." Then your dragon ancestor's envoy, here to help them. Bai Long was excited. Zhuo Fan nodded without shame. Yes, this is Sir's intent. To wait or strike true. That's why I'm saying we're on the same side. Dragon ancestor relies on us in the mortal domain and relies on you in the sacred domain. Will you help us? Of course. Anything for dragon ancestor. Bai Long roared, the others joining him in standing tall. It was his life's greatest honor to lay his life for dragon ancestor. Yi Lin sighed. They might look like humans, but they're as simple as spiritual beasts where it counts. Dragon ancestor has no trouble getting out and coming to sacred domain, but this bro of mine has misled them. He stands for the humans in the end anyhow, not wanting for the sacred beasts to reign once more. If it turned out that the heavenly sovereign was their common enemy, they would return. It all came down to dragon ancestors' words, if they could be trusted. Zhuo Fan offered a hand with a smile. Do we team up? We're all doing this for dragon ancestor. That makes us family. Pa. Bai Long shook Zhuo Fan's hand hard. We will do our all to go with your plan to save dragon ancestor. How may I call you? Luo clan steward, Zhuo Fan. Dragon clan's elder, Bai Long. Bai Long grinned and patted his chest. You have an impressive body for a human. How did you train? At dragon ancestor's favor, he offered me a scale and reforged my body in the golden flames. No wonder, Bai Long believed him more. With dragon ancestor coming, it was a reason to celebrate. After pleasantries, Zhuo Fan pointed at his people. Our investigation is to thwart the heavenly sovereign, but first we'll need more strength. I ask Elder Bai to take these 3 to the dragon lands and teach them. They will act as representatives of our cooperation and to also gather more men. They are 2 sacred beasts and dragon ancestors' disciple. They have great authority among the sacred beasts. Of course, Qilin is the head of beasts. Thunder Phoenix and Kuanping oversee the north and south birds. Cao rules the seas and dragon ancestor created his race. Most of all the spiritual beasts came from them, and they were once a force to be reckoned with in the sacred domain. Bai Long sighed. Ever since the 5 sacred beasts fell, us dragons were the only ones still putting up a fight against humans, with the birds and beasts scattering. This time is different. With the 2 of them calling them, attacking the 7 sacred mountains will be nothing, huh? Zhuo Fan nodded with a smile. Great, but let's be subtle about it and not let them catch wind of this. The dragon lands are vital in the sacred domain, with many eyes on them. That's why we didn't come knocking the moment we got here, attracting the enemy's attention. We thus thought of drawing you out to talk. The sacred weapon from a dragon scale comes from Senior Kuanping. He must have forged it from a deceased dragon. I ask for your forgiveness. It's fine. We're not petty to mind trifles. It's all for dragon ancestor. The dragons didn't mind it. It's unknown when Qilin and Thunder Phoenix will mature, but a war is knocking and we need all the sacred beasts. Is there a way for them to grow faster among spiritual beasts? Well, Bai Long hesitated. We are the only spiritual beasts able to take human form, and that is because of our precious land, Dragonizing Pool. In the ancient past, when humans and spiritual beasts were at peace, Dragon Ancestor and the Shadow Sovereign made it. It contains the essence of Dragon Ancestor and the core of Shadow Sovereign's path. We are able to find human reflections in its waters, using its power to turn human. Our own strength is greatly improved as well. Sacred beasts can turn human by themselves, but if they can go through the Dragonizing Pool, taking in Dragon Ancestor's power, it will deepen their form. The Shadow Sovereign's path is truly intricate, not only dividing people into flesh and soul, but shadows as well. By bringing out the power of their shadow, they can maximize their potential. Dragonizing Pool is a true masterpiece of cooperation between a sovereign and sacred beast. Zhuo Fan nodded and rejoiced inside. Great. Yi Lin, you guys got your wish, receiving a dragon's favor to make up for your weakness. The trio nodded with eagerness. Elder Bai, what of the Fountain of Youth? One dragon spoke. Zhuo Fan turned to him. Fountain of Youth. Yes. Bai Long wore a heavy frown. The fountain of youth had been passed down in ancient times by its creator, the child sovereign. Those that bathed in its waters will remain young and strong for all their lives, even in seniority. The fountain of youth helps one's heart as well, shedding away all worries and attaining inner peace. When humans cultivate in the fountain, their hearts will not be plagued by any negative emotions, heightening their insight towards a sovereign path to incredible degree. I believe that by taking the young sacred beasts there, they would reach their peak even faster. Jiufan laughed, not just them but us as well. But will the dragons share it with us? Ha! Steward, will you jest? The fountain of youth has long since left our hands. What's there to share? Wah! 500,000 years ago, the 7 sacred mountains stole it from us. By long side, it is now locked in the 7 sacred mountains, with only their most important people going in. Each sacred mountain takes up duty to protect it every year. There's no way for us to enter. But now we have the 2 young masters and we can amass troops to raid the 7 sacred mountains, taking back the fountain of youth. Nodding, Jiufan's eyes burned with battle lust. No matter where the heavenly sovereign is right now, we shall take the 7 sacred mountains first. Please return and be ready. I will work from my end. My thoughts exactly, Steward Jua. The elders laughed and cupped their hands. They would finally get revenge on the 7 sacred mountains after all these years of torment. They couldn't beat all 7 mountains, but with the sacred beasts calling the other spiritual beasts, the mountains wouldn't stand a chance. Jiufan talked some more before sending them away. Yi Lin's group going as well. Only Qilong's wounds were a bit problematic, but Jiufan had understanding of the Shadow Sovereign's path, and using reflection and shadows, he left all of them speechless as he performed miracles. He really is Dragon Ancestor's envoy. Jiufan eased up with them gone, having found backing in the sacred domain at long last. He could go up against the 8 emperors without worry of other powers blocking him. Not even the 7 sacred mountains. Chapter 1247, Takeover. Chapter 1247, Takeover. Proofreader, Papatunks. Demonic Emperor Sir, Steward Jua is seeking an audience. What did you say? In Devil Mountain's large and glorious hall, a man in black kneeled before the stunned Zhao Chen. After hearing it a 3rd time he reacted, that's not possible. Didn't he die in the Nether Sea? How? Show him in already. Yes. Jiufan walked it with a wide smile, bowing. Demonic Emperor Sir, have you been well? Steward Jua, you're still alive. Zhao Chen laughed and patted his shoulder. Great, my aid has come back to me. You have no idea how pained I was seeing you crushed. Nights have been hard, the memory is still fresh. Jiufan sneered inside, but only showed a smile. You honor me, sir. Go on, tell me, how did you get out? Zhao Chen's eyes grew suspicious. Jiufan made an excuse. The Nether Sovereign has been an almighty being since ancient times, but he doesn't waste time on nobodies. Everything was but a test. As long as we didn't fear death, he'd let us go. A blessing in disguise. Zhao Chen sighed, then stuttered. Is your cultivation at the 3rd layer of qi condensation, Steward Jua? It was bad enough with only a bone-tempering cultivation, yet now you regressed? Jiufan's regression was a joyous occasion, all thanks to understanding the sovereign paths and his broadened mentality. Jiufan sighed. I had the fortune of passing the Nether Sovereign's trials through a fluke, but as I was so weak, the Nether energy corroded my cultivation. It must have been so hard on you, Steward Jua. Zhao Chen sighed. But since the Nether Sovereign let you go, he must have admired your talent. Is there no way of recovering from this? Jiufan caught his meaning, fishing for anything that Jiufan might have gotten from the Nether Sea and wanting to get a bite himself. He finally got to what Jiufan wanted, egging him on. Sir, is insightful to find out that the Nether Sovereign did give me a cultivation method right at the end. What is it? Jiufan revealed a jade slip. The Nether script provided critical aid when my cultivation regressed. It says it can speed up cultivation and should recover my original level in 3 months. Cultivating further, It would be even faster. In 10 years, I'm sure to make some waves. So magical? Zhao Chen snatched the jade slip by reflex, uncaring that this was another's lifeline. He was no different from a thief. This was the attraction of a sovereign's items, with the whole world lusting after them. Zhuo Fan knew this all too well, using it as bait. Make another's cultivation efforts your own. Absorb it within you. Zhao Chen gasped. The sovereign's cultivation method is incredible. It can even do this? Yes, how else would you get instant results, huh? Zhuo Fan said, it's a pity my cultivation is too low and I can't take on much. I could only absorb 1 qi condensation cultivator a day. I can't have anyone else know as well, lest I earn public anger. Sir has to be careful. Zhao Chen was too thrilled to care. Yeah, very careful, huh? Why would you show me such a dangerous thing? Aren't you afraid I would steal it and silence you? Steward Zhuo, you could never make such a basic mistake. Zhuo Fan stared hard at him. He was obsessed with the new cultivation method, but not enough to rob him of his mind. Zhuo Fan nodded. Sir is right. The cultivation art isn't a danger to just everyone, but to yourself as well. That's why I wish to share it. I don't need many resources now, but with time the demand will rise as soon as I grow in strength. I could never reveal my new strength, so I need Sir's help. Makes sense. Zhao Chen squinted at the jade slip. He knew exactly what resources Zhuo Fan needed and that this cultivation method would incite hatred from everyone. At the same time, the lure of power was too much for some to bear. A swift rise was impossible by common means, only through this art. No one wants to part with anything that comes from a sovereign's domain. Tracing the jade slip, Zhao Chen muttered, staring hard at Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo is right about one thing. Training in this art while avoiding suspicion will only work if you have me covering for you. But now that I have it, why should I help you? The less who know about this, the better. Zhao Chen exploded with power, filled with bloodthirst, and ready to silence Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan said casually, Demonic Emperor, sir, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And why not? Sir, you need far more resources than me. How many would you procure by yourself? You'll still need someone to help you out. That means letting someone know about this. Can you guarantee they won't sell you out? Zhao Chen furrowed his brow, his bloodlust deflated. Zhuo Fan smiled. If Sir is willing to trust me, I will help Sir in this aspect, training with Sir and becoming your accomplice. Exposing it will harm me as well, so we need to work together. Why then would Sir kill such a loyal helper and risk taking another that might betray you at any time? Steward Zhuo. Zhao Chen's eyes shook and sighed. You've thought of everything. I have no reason to strike you. Guard. Sir. A man in black rushed inside and bowed. Demonic Emperor, sir, what are your orders? Everything, my domain and Devil Mountain, are for Steward Zhuo to manage. His word is mine. Let everyone know. The guy flinched. Isn't that the same as making him the Demonic Emperor? All he is missing is a title. What if he goes for a takeover? Zhuo Fan's word is Demonic Emperor's. What are you going to do, sir? Zhao Chen barked. I'm entering seclusion. Got that? Let Steward Zhuo handle everything in my stead in the meantime. Oh, I see. Yes. The man rushed to carry his orders. Zhao Chen turned a snicker to Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, all my resources are yours. Everything in my domain is at your fingertips. We are truly in the same boat. It'll be bad for both of us to let this leak out. Be careful and at least don't be found out too soon. Sir, I also train with it. I won't let anyone call me a waste 30 years later. Zhuo Fan cackled. Zhao Chen had a vile grin. Steward Zhuo, no one says that. You're already frightening with your courage and guile, but you'll be a force to be reckoned with once you have power. Maybe then I'll even be afraid of you. You're too kind, sir. Zhuo Fan bowed. Zhao Chen gave him a look, then laughed as he left. Zhuo Fan is sharp to snatch people's weaknesses. Even so, once I get stronger, I won't have to fear any saint and can remove the punk and the danger. But I still need his skills for now. Chapter 1248, Expansions. Chapter 1248, Expansion. Proofreader, Papatunks. Excited to cultivate, Zhao Chen called for a few people on Devil Mountain to enter his chambers, only for them to scream in horrible agony as they died. Zhou Fan sneered from the outside, leaving for his own matters. Once he got out of the hall, the whole of Devil Mountain kneeled with utter respect. Greetings, Steward Zhua, endless fortunes and everlasting life. In just a few minutes, Devil Mountain knew Zhou Fan had become the demonic emperor's representative, promoted from the head of the 12 demon guards into the crown prince. Everyone conformed with this change, showering with flatteries. Zhou Fan beamed. One moment was all it took to lose everything, but I spent a century to gain it all back. Ha! Zhou Fan shook his head, flicking his hand. Every town and city within the demonic emperor's domain is to be ready for battle. In 3 months, we will go to war. Yes, sir. The huge crowd roared. After Zhou Fan took power, all the cities under the demonic emperor had a change in management. The Luo clan's high officials were sent to rule them. With their many experts, the Luo clan gained swift control of every inch of Zhao Chen's lands, with the latter none the wiser. The demonic emperor had many city lords in the early to late emperor stage, but the Luo clan had scores of them, with a dozen even possessing obscene strength for their level. A bit of flexing and smashing was all they needed to establish their rule. 3 months, that was how long Zhou Fan took to usurp all power in the demonic emperor's domain. Zhao Chen would have a hard time getting everything back. Zhou Fan's plan to take over Zhao Chen's forces from the inside was achieved. Zhao Chen would surely shed tears if he knew. Alas, ignorance is bliss, oblivious to the Luo clan's true power. Otherwise he would never have given so much power to Zhou Fan. Steward Zhua, we've taken everything from Zhao Chen and can remove him. No one will raise a fuss. Li Jingtian bowed to Zhou Fan in a hall, reporting the last 3 months' activities. Zhou Fan's eyes shone, smiling. Not yet, he still has uses. Did you send him cultivation resources? I have, but he demands more and more from you. So eager for quick gains, to drain them, humph. Zhou Fan muttered, it's almost time. March on the Wraith Emperor and the Falcon Emperor's unmanned lands. We will challenge them this time and destroy them. Everyone bowed, yes, sir. News of war spread like lightning throughout the sacred domain. Under Zhou Fan's command, the demonic emperor's army stormed the 2 emperors' lands. They stood no chance, with 10 cities falling in 3 days, butchering all people in their path. The demonic emperor's army was ruthless and terrifying. Damn you, Zhao Chen. Bam! The Falcon Emperor slammed a table. It's only been a couple days of peace and now another war starts? The punk was vicious last time as well, pushing us to fight the Enchanting Empress and Sword Emperor to wear each other out. We had no time to recover and he's coming for us again. The Wraith Emperor frowned hard. We can deal with his treachery, but I fear there's someone even more cunning making things harder. Who? The Falcon Emperor gave him a look and exclaimed, you mean his new right hand, Zhou Fan? The Wraith Emperor sighed. Falcon Emperor, have you noticed how despite Zhao Chen's cunning, he was crude and easy to anger? Now though, looking at the previous war and the current one, each step is taken with precise calculations from someone. It's like we're merely puppets dancing to his tune. Why do you say that? Think for a second. Why would the demonic emperor attack us both? Isn't it because he saved his strength last time? And how else did he do it if not by inviting the Enchanting Empress and Sword Emperor to fight for him? The 8 emperors have always been smart not to get involved in pointless affairs, but why did they join regardless? Who brought them? Zhou Fan. The Falcon Emperor nodded. He didn't look like much when I saw him as we greeted the saints, but Zhao Chen has always kept him around. He has to be good at something. The Wraith Emperor continued, yeah, he made a mess of things in the demonic emperor's stead, forcing both of our sides to lose. This time he's sending troops. I heard that the demonic emperor is in seclusion and gave all power to Zhou Fan. It means the war was Zhou Fan's idea and not his master. The Falcon Emperor's beard shook as he slammed the table. He got some nerve, waging an 8 Emperor's war whenever he wants. The Wraith Emperor sighed. He really is reckless, for not even the Demonic Emperor would do this. There's no way an aide would do this. It's like he's the real Demonic Emperor. The Falcon Emperor gave him a long look and nodded. Yes, the only thing the punk is missing to step on the big stage is strength. Should we just remove him? The Wraith Emperor nodded with a nasty smirk. In a world of strength, being weak meant you were nobody, for anyone could just squash you. Even if you're great at everything else, huh? Before a room on Devil Mountain, Zhuo Fan bowed. Demonic Emperor, I've brought what you requested. Rumble. The stone door cracked open after a series of heavy sounds, then Zhuo Fan stepped in. He grinned at the familiar room as the door closed behind him. A man wrapped in thick black energy sat in center, with a fervent gaze, that of a demented person. After 3 months of cultivating, his aura took a darker and foul air, giving him a sinister vibe, like that of an abomination on the prowl for man-flesh. He should be close to going mad at this rate. Zhuo Fan bowed. Demonic Emperor, sir. Zip it and give me the ingredients. Where are they? Zhao Chen barked, exposing an excited grin, like that of a beast. In a flash of azure, hundreds of people appeared, unconscious. Zhao Chen said, so little? That's only 532, where are the rest? Did you use them? You jest, sir, I can only take 1 a day at most. Why then? Sir, so many people missing is bound to raise suspicions, especially when sir requires high-quality materials. Zhuo Fan smiled. Now that we're at war with the Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor, it will work as a good cover for any missing people. I'm slaughtering every city I come across, sending everyone there for sir's cultivation. Zhao Chen nodded. Good, very good. We're at war? Why yes, so that we get even more ingredients. War is the best way to fool everyone. Please don't blame me for going ahead with this. Zhuo Fan snickered. Zhao Chen squinted, nodding after a pause. It's fine. Nothing matters so long as you supply me with ingredients. Zhao Chen activated his cultivation method and a dreadful black energy spilled over the people. It wrapped around them before returning over to him, leaving the people to crumble to dust. Zhuo Fan smiled as he left. Idiot, didn't you always want 9 Serenity's secret records? Now you're training in its core teaching, demon transformation art. Though I did leave one part out. Renounce your old art before training this one. The previous cultivation method would conflict with demon transformation art and you'll be unable to grasp its essence, that all paths have the same destination. You're too rash in cultivating, taking so many lives and others' cultivation without even considering if there's a limit. It's only a matter of time before you suffer for your greed. That's why I didn't impart it to you back then. Now though, have your fill? Chapter 1249, Worming Facts. Chapter 1249, Worming Facts. Proofreader, Papatunks. Zhao Chen was enveloped in black energy, his mind intoxicated and hazy. He could not see any issues with it because the power was just too strong, giving him a false feeling of control over the entire world as it grew thicker and thicker, promising him sainthood. Zhuo Fan sensed his scattered and wild aura. The increase was only in quantity and not quality, blocking any chance of becoming a saint. Zhuo Fan shook his head as he looked at the closed stone door. Steward Zhuo, the saint wants to meet you again. Li Jingtian had been waiting outside to give him a jade slip. Zhuo Fan read it. Meeting? Saints sure are free, asking to see me right as I'm at war. That damn He Xiaofeng again, staying in Ruby Cloud sect still. Bam! Zhuo Fan crushed the jade slip to dust in anger. Bastard, he's after Qingqing again. Steward Zhuo, will you go? Of course. The least I can do is show a saint proper respect. Show respect? Steward Zhuo dealt with dragon saints like nothing. Crushing an entitled saint brat should be as easy as snapping your fingers. Li Jingnan raised an eyebrow. Zhuo Fan smirked. Right you are, I have nothing to fear from the likes of He Xiaofeng, but I need to consider the bigger picture and lay low for now. Why do you say that? He Xiaofeng is an early saint, nobody important, but he has the sixth sacred mountain behind him. We've yet to hear any word from the dragons. Even with them joining us, it'll take time to gather all the spiritual beasts. We need to bide our time. Zhou Fan's eyes shone. The 8 emperors aren't united. Being hostile to the sacred mountains now will surround us with enemies. 8 emperors? Li Jingtun jerked. What of it? Every Luo clan elder leading a team could mow them down. Won't that reveal us to the saints as well? Tapping his head, Zhou Fan smiled. It will also scare them, turning from being pedantic to stooping to any low and retaliating against us. To resist the enemy, we need to secure our lands. Don't ever forget the lesson of the Sword Star Empire and Bailey Jingwei. By waging war with the sacred mountains, the 8 emperors would be sure to strike back. We have to make our lands strong as iron to avoid any problems. Li Jingtian nodded. Steward Zhuo is thorough in the end. Then we'll take the 8 emperors' lands before anything. Yeah, we're to take their lands without them noticing our intentions and plan for it. Zhou Fan snickered at the door behind him and left with Li Jingtian. Disciple, you betrayed your master and now you'll become bait, drawing everyone in. Whoosh. A month later, 3 people darted beneath the sun as they landed in a forest. Zhou Fan, Li Jingtian and Qiu Yanhai looked at the Ruby Cloud sect's dazzling entrance. Zhou Fan said, I'll go pay my respects and keep the saint and the hag busy while you stick to the plan. The rest are nothing. Understood. The 2 bowed. Zhou Fan walked in, soon blocked by a few familiar figures. Head senior sister, it's been a while. How've you been? You don't get to call me that. Humph. Fang Min glared at him. Where's your guard? Zhou Fan shrugged. Look at what you're saying. Do you think there's no one guarding me with my current status? They're only hiding in the shadows. Should I call them out? They may not be hundreds, but 180 there should be, each tough in their own right. I have no fear against some early spirit kings. You're quite the show-off, for a useless demonic emperor dog. You're wrong about that. Even dogs differ among each other. I act in demonic emperor's stead, can you say the same? While I'm a purebred prized poodle, you're just a flea-ridden mongrel, You. Fang Min grimaced in anger, wanting to kill him then and there. Zhou Fan taunted further, I came to your sect at the saint's invitation. Touch me in any way and not even your master can protect you. Fang Min shuddered and panted, straining to quell her rage, after you. That's better. You're only shaming the enchanting empress by failing to receive guests. Zhou Fan snickered at their furious glares. Where's Qingqing anyway? Why don't I see her? Fang Min got her chance to strike back. You'll never get to see her again. Why do you say that? Zhou Fan's heart tensed. Fang Min mocked. Junior sister has been promised to the saint, but the obstinate girl doesn't know what's good for her and refused. She even tried leaving but master locked her up on the snow peak for the time when the saint takes her away. So you won't see junior sister ever again once she goes to the sacred mountains, Zhou Fan nodded, having taken this scenario into account and looked back. Li Jingtian and Qiu Yanhai gave him a signal. Zhou Fan relaxed. Zhou Fan taunted Fang Min so she would let Chu Qingqing's situation slip. The chick was harsh but not too bright though, making it extra easy for him to deal with her. A few slick words got her to spill all of the sect's secrets. The enchanting empress has good tastes in disciples. Zhou Fan smirked, approving of Fang Min, who gave him an odd look. What's with him? I taunted him with Qingqing yet he doesn't care? Head senior sister. Zhou Fan said, why are you so happy that Qingqing is being taken to the sacred mountains? That place is a cultivator's dreamland. As I understand, you should be jealous and stewing in envy from not being picked instead of that dumb girl. What does she have that I don't? Looking at looks, figure, cultivation, and, you'd probably on par, no? No wonder there are no men around. PFF. The other disciples giggled with red faces. Fang Min glared and gnashed her teeth, cutting their joy short. You're right. Fang Min sighed. Chu Qingqing has never been stronger than me, ever, but Master always spoiled her, giving her everything. The saint also picked her, not even giving me a second glance. Am I so bad? Is she that much better? I don't think so. You agree to? Then why do you all go after her? Objectively speaking, you're better in every way, but one. Which one? Birth. Zhifan's eyes shone. Because she was and still is Qingqing, her birth made him protect her without fail. It was also her birth, having a sovereign path that made the enchanting empress and saint value her immensely. You could never catch up to her with such a circumstance. Fang Min didn't get it? Birth? Isn't she just an orphan? What's so special about her? Master just took her in is all. Very special indeed. Zhuofan was grave. Let me be frank with you. You can never match her background, not even your master. Do you believe me when I tell you that she can make He Xiaofeng destroy Ruby Cloud sect? Even the 8 emperors, the guy would definitely fulfill her every wish to win her smile. How is this possible? Fang Min was dumbstruck. Stop fooling around. A saint would never spoil his girl that much. The 8 emperors in the sacred domain are like the sacred mountains to them. Their death will bring chaos. This isn't spoiling, it's about worth. What does it matter if the world burns so long as Qingqing smiles? Zhuofan gave an eerie grin. This is her background, the one that can topple cities. Why else would she be Chu Qingqing? Ha! Smiley face Qingqing means city-toppling beauty. They arrived before the sect's main hall. Zhuofan entered with a smile, leaving the girls stumped behind. Is Qingqing that important? Just who is she? Chapter 1250 Rescued. Chapter 1250 Rescue. Proofreader, Papatunks. The violent winds carried with them icy snow, pelting the entrance of a mountain cave. Chu Qingqing had a lost gaze as she stared at the dancing snow. She finally sighed with a lowered head. A woman that had aged with grace sat on a flat stone outside the cave with closed eyes. She was like a statue, even as the snow landed on her body. Chu Qingqing stood up and walked outside. She made a sign and struck. Bam! The entire peak trembled, with snow falling from it in every direction. Chu Qingqing recoiled, falling on the ground with a red face. The entrance of the cave now sported a shimmering wall, vanishing right after. The woman shook and all the snow on her fell. Mei Sanggu shook her head at the stubborn Chu Qingqing. I'm sorry that I let you go out the first time. I hoped you'd learn of the world, not have some wicked brat make you lose your way to the point you disobey your seniors. Senior Aunt May, please let me go. I don't want to go to Sacred Mountain. But Sacred Mountain has anything a cultivator could want. They lead the sacred domain. All of your sisters are dying to go. You are blessed with incredible fortune and yet cast it aside. Can't you tell right from wrong? Then let them go instead. Why do I have to go? Chu Qingqing was forlorn. I don't care about cultivation or growing stronger, because I don't want to go. Mei Sanggu could read her heart. Are you still thinking about that brat? Qingqing, did he enchant you or give you something for you to fall so badly after just seeing him a couple of times? I don't know either. Chu Qingqing watched the dancing snow with a happy smile. Ever since I saw him, I felt drawn to him by familiarity, wanting to be with him forever. I don't care where I'll be and what it'll happen, so long as we're together. Just let me go, Senior Aunt May. Pa. Mei Sanggu sighed, face-palming. Qingqing, you're hopeless. It's senior sister who placed the barrier, so even I can't break it, but I wouldn't do it even if I could. It's not just for you, but the boy as well. Think for a moment, a saint has his eyes on you. Do you think he'll get away alive? I don't know how the saint will treat you, but it's certain that he will kill him and the Luo clan. He managed to gain status under the demonic emperor, but can he still withstand the sacred mountain's pressure? By going with him, you're sentencing the Luo clan to death. If you truly love him, think about his well-being instead of ruining everything for a brief moment of joy. Chu Qingqing lowered her head, but she was still vehement. Why does it have to be me? There are so many stronger senior sisters in the sect. Why did that blind saint insist on me? He might really be blind. No, ahem. Forget I said that. I mean that the saint has special tastes. This is your chance. Chu Qingqing clenched her fists, but slumped in the end as she sighed. Mei Sangu chuckled. She finally gave up. Ha! Whoosh! Mei Sangu jerked, still slow to react as a figure grabbed her by the neck and prevented her from using her strength. Another figure flashed behind her and struck the back of her neck. Mei Sangu slumped, unconscious. Chu Qingqing cried out, "Senior Aunt. Miss Chu, Steward Zhua told us not to harm anyone in Ruby Cloud Sect. You can relax." The two figures were utterly respectful towards her. Chu Qingqing stammered, "You mean, Zhua Fan sent you?" "Yes, I am Li Jingtian, a Luo clan venerable, tasked by Steward Zhua to rescue you. I am Qiu Yanhai, also a venerable." The two cupped their hands and smiled. Chu Qingqing gave a nod. "I know you. You were with Zhua Fan in Gambling Town. Did Zhua Fan really send you to save me?" "Yes." The two echoed. Chu Qingqing cheered up. "How did he know I was kept here? Did my sisters tell him?" "Miss Chu, your sisters aren't that kind." Steward Zhua's uncanny foresight let us know of the Sacred Mountains' deal with your master after your rebirth. It's the only explanation for their treatment of you. Li Jingtian sneered. Chu Qingqing's heart sank. She looked up to her master as her own mother. But master made a deal to give me over to the Sacred Mountains? Her heart was torn with grief, making her joy plunge in sadness. Li Jingnan saw she was silent and said, "Miss Chu, please stand back. We'll break the barrier and don't want to harm you. Steward Zhua will never forgive us." "Oh, thank you." Chu Qingqing woke up from her thoughts and took a couple steps back. "Seniors, master placed the barrier. Please be careful not to get hurt." Hurt? As peak emperors, these guys only feared Dan Qingchen and his group with their monstrous power. The two just chuckled. Qiu Yanhai's hand flashed with a searing flame, shouting, "Old Li, the hags used an ice seal, weak to my attribute. I'm more than enough. Stand back." Qiu Yanhai struck with his palm, making it explode in a blistering red. The invisible barrier vanished on the spot. The heat stormed the cave, drying Chu Qingqing's soft skin and even making her hair curl. Qiu Yanhai panicked and bowed. "Forgive me, miss. I used too much strength." "You aren't hurt, are you?" "No." Chu Qingqing shook her head, amazed at his skill. "Senior, you're incredible. Not even Senior Aunt could remove Master's barrier, but you did it like nothing. Are you stronger than Master?" Qiu Yanhai grinned in pride. "Miss is too kind. I'm not that great, not when there are others in the Luo clan far stronger than me. As for your master and seniors, I can handle them. I actually overestimated your master just now, and used half my strength. A third would have sufficed." "You're that much stronger than Master? How can this be? Master is one of the 8 emperors." Chu Qingqing was shocked at Qiu Yanhai's confidence and bragging. He even said that the Luo clan had many more better than him. Why are they relying on the demonic emperor if the Luo clan can handle the 8 emperors? Was there a clan in this world ever able to surpass the 8 emperors besides the Sacred Mountains? Chu Qingqing was utterly confused. Qiu Yanhai grinned, but Li Jingtian cut his showboating short. "Steward Zhua gave us a job. Let's save her and go." "All right. Miss, come with us. It's now or never." Qiu Yanhai rushed to Chu Qingqing. She then recalled something and stepped away from Qiu Yanhai. The two were puzzled. "Miss, what's wrong?" "You go, I'm staying. Tell Zhua Fan that fate keeps us apart." "Why?" "If you take me, you'll become enemies with Ruby Cloud Sect and even get the Sacred Mountains to attack you. I could never forgive myself for getting all your clan killed." Chu Qingqing's shoulder slumped. "Zhua Fan earned his master's recognition in becoming steward, but I won't harm the Luo clan and him because of me. Go and tell him to not look for me again and not use his status carelessly." Li Jingtian smiled. They snatched her either way and fled. Chu Qingqing cried out and Li Jinggan shouted, "Miss Chu, Steward has all that taken care of. We don't care about some puny sacred mountains anyway, ha. Chapter 1251, Sacred Mountains Decision. Chapter 1251, Sacred Mountains Decision. Proofreader, Papatunks. The two rushed away with Chu Qingqing in tow, yet not out of Ruby Cloud sect, instead slipping near the main hall. A patrol of disciples passed by and the two knocked them out without a sound. What are you doing? Chu Qingqing whispered. Li Jingtian waved off her concern. Miss Chu, they're fine. Make sure to stay quiet and follow me. The two venerables led her to a hidden spot. Chu Qingqing was baffled, but trusted them since they harmed no one. They reached a hidden part of the wall of the building and looked in through the window. Steward Zhua, you've drunk a dozen cups already? Can we start already? Master? Chu Qingqing gave the two an odd look, seeing them grave. She could only refocus on the scene inside the hall, where he Xiaofeng, her master, and Zhuofan were. Zhuofan placed his teacup down. This should be enough. I've stalled for an hour now. Should I keep going? Enchanting Empress, your maiden tea is delightful. I can't get enough of it. Steward Zhua, Lord Saint called you here to discuss, not chat over tea. The enchanting Empress's face was dark, glaring at Zhuofan. It all started as courtesy, showing him hospitality, but this guy kept fussing over the tea being too cold or too hot. Then he stuffed himself with snacks, only to ask for a potty break. He was wasting time, no doubt about it, not wanting to get to it. We're all civilized people here, men of status that know courtesy. So being polite was only natural. But this? Zhuofan had been milking their courtesy for an hour now. The two didn't know what he was playing, but their patience was running thin, unable to keep their calm. Bam! Zhuofan slammed the teacup down, raging, Humph, enchanting Empress, is this how you treat guests? Can't a guy enjoy a nice warm tea around here? Is this Ruby Cloud sex hospitality? You've had 18 of them. Yi Xiaofeng's face twitched, snapping, this is the 6th time you used that pretext. Can't you at least change your script? You might like this agitation, but we don't. What are you trying to pull? Zhuofan beamed bashfully, that many? Haha, sorry, I didn't keep count. Though could I get a refill? Enough. Yi Xiaofeng slammed the table. Zhuofan, I've never seen a more revolting person in my life. I know what your game is, but no matter how much you stall it won't work. It's time you give me an explanation. Why is the demonic emperor attacking 2 emperors without reason? Zhuofan shrugged. The whole of the sacred domain knows it, even the enchanting empress. The 2 emperors were at odds with the demonic emperor and waged war. If not for Lord Saint interfering, it would have been over by now. Later, Saint took the Nether Sea map then went back. So doesn't have to mix in our squabbles. It's the sacred mountain's decision, not requiring discussion with anybody, especially with you. Yi Xiaofeng unleashed his strong aura filled with bloodthirst. Zhuofan sneered inside. He can flip out all he wants now, Humph? The enchanting empress intervened. Sir Saint, think of everything. If Qingqing finds out about his death, it will make things worse. It'll be bad if she takes her life. Yi Xiaofeng quelled his seething anger. The enchanting empress said, Steward Zhua, I know you wield all of the demonic emperor's forces, with Zhao Chen in seclusion. It's brave of you to go against 2 emperors in the demonic emperor's name, but once he comes out, he will make you answer for it. Nothing enchanting empress needs to concern herself with. All I do is for the demonic emperor. I started the war with Sir's approval. There's no point in you interfering, ha. Steward Zhua, you're burning bridges. The enchanting empress mocked, the demonic emperor has the power to fight those 2 because I and the sword emperor wore them out. While you 2 stood by and watched, we took heavy losses. I can overlook this, but now you want us to stand back? That's not very honest. But it is, since our deal is done. You got your Nether Sea map, so what are you lacking? I don't care about your squabbles. You are forbidden from fighting. Yi Xiaofeng slammed the table again. The 8 emperors are about to change. A few disciples will come down from sacred mountains, replacing some of the 8 emperors. It's unclear who it will be. It's too soon for you to fight for more land. Zhuofan said, replace the 8 emperors? Are you kidding me? The 8 emperors represent sacred mountains, but they are outside of it. They come from every corner of the sacred domain and understand it best. Those entitled saints don't know the first thing about the sacred domain situation. They lack the experience to handle local factions and quell chaos. It'll be a miracle if the sacred domain won't burn to the ground. It won't be of benefit to anyone, including the sacred mountain's supply. There's sure to be accidents. Are you looking down on us? That's no disdain but fact. Zhuofan's eyes shone. The sacred domain is a world where the strong rule, but for them to form their faction, they need the skill set for it, to know how to draw people in and feel at ease as their power grows. With the sacred mountains merely observing from above, they don't know anything about how things work down below. With a few reckless commands, the sacred domain's order will be broken, with the people crushed and suffering. Enchanting Empress was touched, with He Xiaofeng sneering, no one will stir anything when we come down. We can even replace the 8 emperors with pigs and there'll still be no objection. You guys only have pigs? You dare disgrace the sacred mountains? He Xiaofeng roared. The Enchanting Empress rushed to stop him, advising, Steward Zhuo, we have no say in the sacred mountain's decision. Their disciples have incredible talent and might be qualified for our positions. Over time, they will gain their experience and become able lords. Humph, able you say? When they can't reach sainthood with those top cultivation methods and mountains of resources thrown at them? Zhuofan mocked, even making them into the 8 emperors, while time can give them experience, their mindset will never change. Did they rise from the bottom? Will they listen to others' suggestions? A bunch of pompous pricks will sooner or later destroy everything. Using the sacred domain's turmoil to raise their own people is so kind of the sacred mountains, humph. Zhuofan mocked, He Xiaofeng sneered and the Enchanting Empress sighed. Also, Zhuofan continued, Enchanting Empress, they'll send a few to replace the 8 emperors, but next time there will be even more. At some point all will be replaced. The only land ruled by bottom cultivators will turn over into the hands of those high and mighty from the sacred mountains. Then there will be no end to our torment. The same goes for you as well. It's only a matter of time before only the sacred mountains could produce saints, taking all the highest positions. He Xiaofeng mocked, and isn't it now the same? Of course not. The 8 emperors have a share of resources left from the sacred domain, giving hope of creating some saints. But once the sacred mountains take everything, this little hope will be crushed. What chance do cultivators born outside the sacred mountains ever have of reaching the top? Blame it on their birth, for being born elsewhere. He Xiaofeng had a sinister smirk. No matter how antagonistic the 8 emperors are, they are to stay put. You can resume once the replacements are here. The other emperors should get word of it soon. No one gets to disobey, not even the demonic emperor, let alone a nobody like you. Zhuofan's eyes shone with bloodthirst. He came to see He Xiaofeng for another reason, but the sacred mountain's decision infuriated him. In both of his lives, he had clawed his way from the bottom, his pride making him never lower his head to anyone, not even the sacred mountains. For he believed that one day he would surpass those fools. He didn't have anywhere near the resources they had, but he made up for it with effort. This decision, however, would make the common people lose all hope. The resources would be under tight control, and even reaching sainthood would only be possible if the sacred mountains allowed it. There would be no hope to become strong. He didn't know what got the sacred mountains to go crazy and issue such a decision, but Zhuofan would be sure to never let them succeed. I need to speed up taking down the 8 emperors. Chapter 1252, History. Chapter 1252, History. Proofreader, Papatunks. Taking a deep breath to calm down, Zhuofan's gaze went cold. He Xiaofeng waved him off with scorn. Go tell the demonic emperor to stop and change his aid, Or the first replacement might just be his, ha. Saint, are you trying to get me fired? No, I just dislike mavericks. Then you shouldn't complain when I overstep. Overstep? He Xiaofeng taunted, you're threatening me now? Ha, with what? Zhu Fan smirked, oh, I don't know, Ching Ching. Chu Ching Ching. He Xiaofeng laughed harder, her? Save it. No girl can ever affect me. Actually, I'm going to threaten you with her. Your defiant nature would have gotten you killed by now, even if you were one of the 8 emperors. You're only breathing because I don't want her to know. Once I take her to the sacred mountains, you best watch out, ha. Chu Qingqing was furious. This was his plan all along. And I almost trusted him. Zhu Fan looked back with a smile, Saint Sir, you're too scornful of me. As a puny cultivator, I didn't get into the demonic emperor's good graces by luck alone. You think I'm like you, gambling with a girl's feelings? Too risky. Well, do you have anything else? Of course, Zhu Fan snickered, the reason why you must have Chu Qingqing. He Xiaofeng shook and grew heavy. The enchanting empress panicked, Zhu Fan, you can't spout nonsense. Lord Saint came from the sacred mountains for the first time. He passed by the Ruby Cloud sect, found Qingqing stunning, and was drawn to her. A gentleman and a lady would make for a great couple, that's why he wanted to take her. Yeah, it's that simple. He Xiaofeng added. Zhu Fan beamed, let's be honest here, since there's only 3 of us. That's an excuse for everyone else, to hide the truth and a terrible secret about Qingqing's history. History? The 2 cried out, with He Xiaofeng looking hateful. What do you know? I know something, but enough, he. Zhu Fan gave a sneaky smile. 100 years ago, the sky changed, an omen of great significance. It happened to be Qingqing's birth nearby Ruby Cloud sect. The enchanting empress went over at once and knew the girl was special, covered in a prismatic glow, taking her for a disciple. Since it was too important, she silenced everyone that knew anything about her, including her parents. Chu Qingqing held her mouth, unable to believe her ears. The enchanting empress grew dark, cursing, Zhu Fan, stop vilifying. Enchanting empress, why so nervous? Allow me to finish first. Zhu Fan continued, the enchanting empress sneaked Qingqing into the sect to raise her, telling only her backer, the 6th sacred mountain's lord. The lord knew taking the girl would draw unneeded attention. So he set it up for his son to marry her 100 years later. That would get the girl on the mountain with none the wiser. A perfect match between a gentleman and a lady, no, ha. He Xiaofeng's face twitched and barked, rubbish? Why would we do this to Qingqing? Because you found an ancient and scary record. That she is related to a sovereign path. Zhu Fan shouted. He Xiaofeng pointed at him in shock, how do you know that? The sacred mountains aren't the only ones with ancient records. No, impossible. We only found bits and pieces in our ancient records, yet your Luo clan under the demonic emperor has. Young master he. The enchanting empress' sharp voice stopped him, but it was too late. Zhu Fan taunted, what did I tell you? The sacred mountains' entitled princelings have nothing to them other than their huge backers. That sentence proves everything. Try denying it now. You bastard! You goaded me! He Xiaofeng was outraged and filled with bloodthirst. Chu Qingqing can't protect you anymore, you know too much. Zhu Fan didn't care he was about to attack. My man-child of a prince, this is your fault. Knowing things doesn't mean death. Try anything and tomorrow, all of the sacred domain will hear about this. Everyone will be fighting over Chu Qingqing. What worth would the 6th sacred mountain be then? Did you forget about the rest of the mountains? A bunch of decrepit old fools stuck at peak sainthood will be sure to go crazy at the mere hope of reaching the sovereign stage. He Xiaofeng shuddered, glaring at Zhu Fan with loathing. The enchanting empress was grave, though amazed at the same time. She cowered before the saints like all the other 8 emperors, but this kid went and toyed with him. But having leverage on a saint could burn him to ashes at some point. He's playing with his life. It would keep him safe for now, but disaster would come in the end. The sixth sacred mountain would not forget this, destroying him and the Luo clan to hide this secret. The enchanting empress continued, I've been cautious to not let anything leak when I did it. How did you find out? The enchanting empress just admitted to everything. Chu Qingqing was about to cry in shock, but Li Jingtian held her mouth, with faint sobs sounding as tears streamed down. Her master killed her parents. You weren't too careful. Someone played dead and escaped. Qingqing asked me to help her find her history, so I did. Zhuo Fan smirked. He had not the slightest clue, just guesswork. But this proved enough for the two to buy it and admit to everything. Now he could go after Qingqing's sect without issues. The enchanting empress frowned. No, I made sure nobody escaped. There's no way that happened. Are you sure? Why else would he know so much? He Xiaofeng cursed. What do you want to keep silent? Zhuo Fan shrugged. I'll tell you when I figure it out. But I hope nothing bad will happen to the Luo clan and the demonic emperor due to the Sacred Mountain's decision. Zhuo Fan left then, laughing just before exiting. You're nothing but an idiot, Saint. You're not even close to challenging me. Damn it. Bam. He Xiaofeng crushed the table. I'm the young lord of the sixth sacred mountain, yet I can't even touch that blasted bug. This kid is truly frightening. The enchanting empress sighed, waiting for He Xiaofeng to calm down before smiling. He's only clever, while beneath you in every other way. He Xiaofeng's face twitched, with blood leaking from his mouth. Curses, he is nothing compared to me at all. Is that how you intend to flatter me? Master, this is bad. A disciple burst in. Master, our sisters have suffered an attack and 50 people are unconscious. 50 people unconscious without any sign of who did it? They must be incredible. Search the sect. Yes. The disciple rushed out, just as another entered. Master, Senior Aunt Mei was found unconscious and Junior Sister Qingqing is missing. What? He Xiaofeng roared. Chu Qingqing is my sweetheart, raised for 100 years for me alone. I won't have this. I will slaughter any that had a part in this. He Xiaofeng vanished before anyone could stop him. Chapter 1253, Dropping Off. Chapter 1253, Dropping Off. Proofreader, Papatunks. Whoosh. In a dense forest, Zhuo Fan waited as Li Jingtian and Qiu Yanhai showed up with Chu Qingqing, Steward Zhuo. No need for courtesies. Zhuo Fan only looked at Chu Qingqing, understanding her pain. Qingqing, that's how it is. Don't feel sad, it's all in the past now. Chu Qingqing felt devastated, hugging him hard. Zhuo Fan, I have no one. I don't have parents and now my master is a brutal murderer. There, aren't I still here? Rubbing her back, Zhuo Fan softly said, the hag is a pretender, now you know. It's good that you're finally leaving her. Just tell me how you want her handled and I'll help you. Chu Qingqing hesitated. The enchanting empress had taken care of her for 100 years and was also her master. She couldn't forsake everything just like that, even with this betrayal. Zhuo Fan was happy with ruining their relationship. Chu Qingqing's attachment to the enchanting empress had hindered Zhuo Fan's plans for so long. But now he was free to act. Chu Qingqing wouldn't like to know he would kill the hag, but she wouldn't go against it. Zhuo Fan patted her back, consoling her. You go with them to the Luo clan, where it is safe so that guy won't take you. Chu Qingqing nodded. Zhuo Fan was now her only lifeline. Take Miss Chu and protect her at all times. Yes. The elders bowed and held Chu Qingqing's arms before shooting off. Zhuo Fan grinned. Minutes later, He Xiaofeng was darting everywhere to look for any clues. Bastard. He stalled on purpose to confuse me. I won't fall for it. I will catch you and make mincemeat out of you. I will get Qingqing back. Whoosh. A figure blocked his path, making him jerk to a stop. Sir Saint, where are you going? Zhuo Fan chuckled with cupped hands. He Xiaofeng barked, rotten filth, get lost. This doesn't concern you. It's our greatest honor to serve you, Saint. Tell me what it is, sir, and I may be of help. I'm a saint, dominating the whole of the sacred domain. What could you possibly do to help me? Get lost before I lose my patience. Don't think for a second that you can show off just because you know my secret that I can't kill you. Know that I can give you a fate worse than death. Oh, I see, then please enlighten me. Zhuo Fan snickered, standing there and blocking his path. He Xiaofeng popped a vein. Fine, you asked for it, so don't come crying to me later. He Xiaofeng unleashed his mighty saint powers, putting all his pressure on Zhuo Fan. The dreadful aura would have put normal emperors out of commission from the heavy wounds. Zhuo Fan stood like it was a breeze that fell on him. A vortex of black energy on him dissipated the saint's power, fully absorbing it. How can this be? He Xiaofeng gasped in utter shock. You're just a bug, yet you can wait. You're not in the qi condensation stage? How else can you fly? Zhuo Fan snickered. There's no way a qi condensation cultivator could fly, let alone block half your pressure. They'd be crushed to pieces instead of still talking to you, huh? Why you were laying low? He Xiaofeng gaped, then turned grave. What cultivation do you have? Around the peak of the emperor stage. Humph, I see, not bad but still nowhere close to my level. He Xiaofeng relaxed, his pride once again stoked. You still dare block me? Beat it already. He Xiaofeng shot for Zhuo Fan, using all his power, wanting to run him through. A saint had the power to do that against an emperor, for sure. Though he wasn't against any normal emperor. He Xiaofeng clashed with something that felt like a wall, stopping him in his tracks. He looked up with shock to find a hand grabbing him. How is this possible? He Xiaofeng was overwhelmed. An emperor stopped me with one hand? Bam! Zhuo Fan's Qilin arm flicked him 1,000 meters away, making him tumble around. When he recovered, he was graved. What the hell are you? Luo clan steward, Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan smirked, his calmness making even his surroundings tranquil. He Xiaofeng was scared. To have such an easy time stopping him meant he had incredible power. I really underestimated him. He Xiaofeng frowned and clenched his fists. Sacred body. He Xiaofeng shook and exploded in a white light, forming a huge image around him that had 8 divine swords on its back. He Xiaofeng held his head high with pride inside the huge figure. The giant hands took 2 flickering swords from its back, each hundreds of meters long that unleashed biting winds as they were drawn. The enchanting empress had just looked over her unconscious disciples when she froze before shooting off. The saint unleashed his sacred body. He must have met with a great expert. Whoosh! The slash cut the sky as it pointed at Zhuo Fan. You then know our differences, being a peak emperor. Your imperial mark is nothing before my sacred body. Bring Chu Qingqing back right now, for I have plenty of ways to silence the Luo clan and the demonic emperor. Oh really? Zhuo Fan mocked him, lifting the Qilin arm with a burning look in his eyes. I'm sorry, while there's no bad blood between us, you are after Qingqing. The sooner you're out of the picture, the better. You don't know, but in Nether Sea, I planned on dealing with you, though I never got the chance. Now, you came asking for it. He Xiaofeng laughed. Handle me? You got some nerve. Show me then, how will you handle a saint? Boom. He Xiaofeng slashed his 2 swords at Zhuo Fan with the power to rend the world. The world shifted and the sun dimmed, for the end of days was night. Zhuo Fan was unfazed, showing no reaction. As the blades reached him, his eyes shone and punched. Qilin Tyrant Fist. Rumble. A punch to destroy the world. He Xiaofeng's sword clashed with Zhuo Fan's punch, and in a flash of red, they broke. The space cracked as black scars appear around them from the indomitable fist. As the unstoppable power reached He Xiaofeng, the mighty fist ran him through. The sacred body had a 500-meter hole in it. The huge body tottered before fading to nothing. He Xiaofeng coughed 3 mouthfuls of blood as he fell to the ground. Chapter 1254, Wrong Guess. Chapter 1254, Wrong guess. Proofreader, Papatunks. Bang. He Xiaofeng slammed hard into the ground, his body broken in every way. Worse, his soul was severely injured, needing a decade to pull himself together. But now, he didn't have any strength left in him, just like a bug. Even a foundation establishment stage could slap him into the beyond. Zhuo Fan drifted down, looking down at his victim with a sinister smile. He Xiaofeng was trembling in fear. Why you're not human? You're a monster, spiritual beast, or a dragon? I'm a saint, the strongest human. How can you destroy my sacred body without even an imperial mark? Haha, you're right, though a bit off. Zhuo Fan shook his head. I'm half beast, but not a dragon or spiritual beast. The sacred beast decimating dragon ancestor remolded my body with his scale, making it unbreakable. This right hand comes from a soaring Qilin leg. In the Nether Sea, I gained guidance from the tyrant emperor. I hardly need to use anything to deal with an early saint bigot like you. My foundation is leagues above you. What? He Xiaofeng gaped. You have so many ancient experts behind you. Just who are you? Former demonic emperor Zhuo Yifan, current Luo clan steward, Zhuo Fan. Zhuo Fan smiled. As for the process of my second coming, I'll leave that a secret. Gulp. He Xiaofeng stammered. Demonic emperor Zhuo Yifan, I heard he got 9 Serenity's sovereign's cultivation method and that's why you could avoid that calamity. Right, but it was too late. What are you doing? He Xiaofeng shuddered in fear. Zhuo Fan snickered. What you ask? Isn't it obvious? I just spilled my greatest secrets and shouldn't you offer the same consideration? See consideration? Right? Show some consideration by sharing as well. Zhuo Fan smirked, raising a hand that oozed black energy, placing it on his head. I lay my heart open to you, so you must die. Since dead men tell no tales. Bye, Sir Saint. Wish you great fortune to be born in the sacred mountains again, unlike me, to come from the bottom rung. Though I don't mind, since my base birth allowed me to send you, of lofty birth, to reincarnate a... Wails of pain shuddered the forest as black energy spread out. When Zhuo Fan stood, he was surrounded by dust and rags taken by the wind. Zhuo Fan eased a breath. A saint sure has a strong cultivation. It's good that I've not used demon transformation art for a while. I'll need a few days to consolidate. I'd rather avoid ending up like the traitor Zhao Qin. Ha. Whoosh. Zhuo Fan's ear twitched at the sound and vanished. You came just in time to report to the 6th sacred mountain, Humph. Whoosh. The enchanting empress landed and looked around. Strange, I just saw Saint's sacred body around here. Where is he? Master. Ruby Cloud sect disciples arrived as well. We've looked around but there's no sign of anyone. The enchanting empress nodded and hesitated. Is the battle over, and so they scattered? There's not a body around, so that means the one taking Qingqing couldn't be stopped by a saint? Won't it mean they have a saint as well? The enchanting empress stepped on something that caught her attention, the dust as well as bits of familiar clothing. This? The enchanting empress cried out in utter shock. This is the saint's clothing. What is it doing here? Did he get killed? Success. The enchanting empress gasped in fear. Her knees softened and slumped to the ground shell-shocked. This is really bad. The 6th sacred mountain's young lord died in the Ruby Cloud sect's domain. Then the Lord will take it out on me. Disciples, gather everyone around at once. We'll report to the 6th sacred mountains. 2 weeks later, on the 6th sacred mountain, in a quaint and huge study, a middle-aged man with twin mustaches held dust and scraps of clothing in his hand with red eyes. The man exploded with a vicious aura, pulverizing his desk and everything in the room. The shivering enchanting empress was sent flying and coughed blood. Who did this? Why was my son the only one to suffer in the 8 emperors' lands? The middle-aged man roared, snapping his bloodshot eyes on the enchanting empress, flashing in her face and grabbing her hair. He howled in her ear, "Enchanting empress, explain yourself. What happened? Why did my son suffer in your sect?" Mountain Lord, Young Lord's fate had nothing to do with me. We didn't do it. Of course I know that, so stop wasting my time. You don't have what it takes. Bam! The enchanting empress got thrown into a wall as the man raged. I'm asking you who killed my son in your sect's domain? You better have an answer or I'll wipe the Ruby Cloud sect from the sacred domain. Mountain Lord, we will investigate this and report to you. The enchanting empress kneeled again in terror. The middle-aged man held his head with grief. Fonga, you suffered so much, not even leaving a body behind. Fonga, I thought Chu Qingqing would be great for you in understanding sovereign stage. But now I shall never see you again. What of your disciple then? What happened to her? If she's devastated, I can allow her entrance into the sacred mountain as a widow. She, enchanting empress stammered. The man turned frosty. What about her? Hasn't she been getting close to Fonga? Doesn't she care if he died? Humph, absurd, a sacred mountain young lord shows his care and she doesn't want it? She just doesn't know her own fortune. Fine, since there's nothing there, I'll still allow her on sacred mountain as my daughter-in-law, for being with Fonga for so long. But better have her clean her act as a devastated widow. That's the only way to move me and allow her in without raising suspicion to the other mountains. Did I make myself clear? Mountain Lord, that's beside the point. The enchanting empress's face shook hard. The man gave her a long look. Not the point, then what is it? I'm not asking her to truly feel for my son, just act like it to fool others. What's so hard about that? How did you teach her all these years to not manage a disciple? No, Mountain Lord, I do know how to manage my disciples and guide them after so many years together, but… What? But she has to be present first. The man went blank, his grief all but lost. What's that supposed to mean? You're not saying… The enchanting empress lowered her head. She was actually so in love with Fonga that she took her life? The man's mind went wild with guesses. The enchanting empress blinked, lost. Took her life? Qingqing and your son barely know each other. Aren't you overestimating your son's charm here? The enchanting empress' silence made the man angrier. You're such a disappointment. How could you not watch your disciple? We've been raising this prize pig for a century. Even with my son gone, she shouldn't have been harmed. Damn hag, give me back my prize pig. The man clutched the enchanting empress' neck with fury in his eyes. He cared more for Chu Qingqing than for his son. Mountain Lord, listen to me. Qingqing is fine. The enchanting empress' hoarse voice barely got through. The guy perked up and let her go. Then what was that about? I thought. She isn't here because someone took her. Enchanting Empress said. The man's face shook, then he clutched the enchanting empress's neck again, but even tighter. Chapter 1255. The Demonic Emperor Acts. Chapter 1255. The Demonic Emperor Acts. Proofreader, Papatunks. Cough. The enchanting empress pawed at his cold hand and coughed for air. Mountain Lord, spare me. Wretched stinking hag, you can't do anything right. The man gnashed his teeth. My son died near your place and then you lost the prize pig I had you raise for a century. So you tell me what you deserve. The enchanting empress held her sore neck, stammering, Mountain Lord, Qingqing is only missing. We just have to get her back. It's better than being dead. As if. Bam. Throwing her into the groan again, he snapped, I'd be happier if she took her life because of my son. Now she's gone and my son is dead. Not only did I lose everything but there's not an ounce of feeling between them. Have you any idea of the heartbreak I'm going through? I thought you felt none as a practical man. The enchanting empress bowed, keeping that bit to herself as she said, Please restrain your grief, Mountain Lord. Cut the crap, I want to know everything, what is going on and how you lost Qingqing. Talk or die. The man demanded. The enchanting empress bowed and reported how he Xiaofeng called Zhuofan over to warn him, only for the latter to know everything. Not long after Zhuofan left, we discovered unconscious disciples in the sect and Qingqing missing. Young Lord rushed in pursuit, and I was unaware it would be the last time I got to witness the young lord's genius, kindness, and amiable nature. Oh, the sorrow. Stop crying. The mountain lord snapped at her. I know exactly what my son was, least of all amiable. You're only crying for my sake. The enchanting empress gave a dry smile. Mountain lord so insightful, but the young lord had many people's respect, ha. Ignoring the blatant flattery, the man said, so it all happened after Zhuo Fan left? Isn't he related? That can't be. The enchanting empress shook her head. Why not? Mountain Lord, Zhuo Fan is the demonic emperor's right-hand man. He is beyond resourceful, but he's as weak as a bug, in the bone-tempering stage. He'd have long since been reduced to fertilizer if not for the protection his high status offered. Young Lord was a saint that no bug could even touch. It's not possible. Then the ones around him. Mountain Lord squinted. 8 emperors shook her head still. Mountain Lord, the Luo clan sought shelter with the demonic emperor. They can't have any experts. They are at least beneath the demonic emperor. While the one that took Qingqing moved like the wind, rendering Mei Sangu, my junior sister, unconscious without even reacting. This is the level of 8 emperors at the least. The Luo clan couldn't have done it. And yes. When we were at the sect, I saw the young lord's sacred body, but by the time we got there, no one was there. This proves that the young lord's fight was swift. Mountain Lord, the only one able to kill the young lord so fast is a saint. The 8 emperors could never do this. Mountain Lord nodded. Yeah, you're right about that. But who did it? To kill Fenger in a blink, one must have mid-saint power. Maybe. Mountain Lord, did you find out? There's one faction that has such power, the Dragon Saints. Mountain Lord squinted. The 7 sacred mountains and the dragons are at odds, but it's been years since we intersected. They're avoiding any conflict. They could never have struck my son. Maybe the young lord's immense pride provoked them. No, I warned him not to ever touch those lizards. Mountain Lord denied her guess. If not the dragons, then the other sacred mountains? Has Chu Qingqing's secret leaked? The two shared a look and nodded. This was the most plausible explanation. Zhuo Fan had the biggest motive to take her, but not the strength, leaving the two crossing him out. The matters were becoming complicated, with them unable to figure out who was behind it. They believed He Xiaofeng's death was due to Chu Qingqing. He Xiaofeng must have found the other's secret and was silenced. Fenger, I will find your killer and rescue the precious Chu Qingqing, Mountain Lord vowed. The enchanting empress said, since the secret is out, does Zhuo Fan's threat still stand? Yes. Giving her a sidelong glance, Mountain Lord continued, so long as it isn't an open secret, the threat will be real. No one will spread this secret, not us, not the ones taking Chu Qingqing. We need to strike first and get Chu Qingqing with us at once. The enchanting empress nodded. Are we to condone his defiant actions? Isn't it just land? He can cause trouble for the next sacred mountain's disciples, so long as he keeps his mouth shut. Mountain Lord sneered. The 7 sacred mountains' joint action stems from the fear of those old fools due to the event a century ago, that a strong expert will emerge that would topple their power. They want to regulate all resources so that not even an ungodly genius of the likes of the 10 ancient sovereigns can reach sainthood without our say-so. The enchanting empress nodded, her heart sinking. It's just like the kid said, the sacred mountains want to crush everyone. Now there's no hope for anyone else to rise to the top. Zhuo Fan was back on Devil Mountain, where he met nervous guards in the main hall. They bowed and reported their worries. Steward Zhuo, you're here. What's wrong? Why are you all here? Zhuo Fan asked. Steward Zhuo, our assault on the 2 emperors has been going smoothly, but the 2 have taken to the battlefield themselves and none of us can take them on. We've received urgent reports requesting the demonic emperor's assistance. But the demonic emperor has been in seclusion and we don't know what to do. We will suffer heavy losses if this goes on. We can't take more of the unstoppable emperor's attacks. Oh, I see. Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. Don't worry, I will go see the demonic emperor now to ask him to fight. Zhuo Fan walked among their gratifying words towards the stone door. Demonic emperor, sir, I have something to report. Rumble. The heavy door opened and Zhuo Fan entered. He saw a ghastly Zhao Chen with bloodlust in his eyes. Where are my ingredients? The demonic emperor's breath was ragged. Zhuo Fan smiled. Demonic emperor, sir, I can no longer provide them. Why? The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor have taken to the battlefield, blocking us from taking more prisoners. Bam! Zhao Chen slammed the stone bed, breaking it. Outrageous. Those bastards are ruining everything. I'll get them for this. There are reports from the front lines requesting the demonic emperor's help to eliminate them. Also, with the 8 emperors' incredible cultivation, they are sure to be a great boost. Zhuo Fan snickered. Zhao Chen's eyes shone with malice and madness. Ha! Using them I'll reach sainthood. Zhao Chen vanished, leaving Zhuo Fan alone. Li Jingtian had taken Chu Qingqing to the Luo clan, then came here, coming over to Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, what did you have him cultivate in? Why is he so erratic, like a lunatic? It's his heart that's going wild. It has nothing to do with the cultivation method. Zhuo Fan sighed and snickered. With the demonic emperor on the move, the rabid dogs will bite each other, just like back then with Devil Mountain. Steward Zhuo, when do we move? Li Jingtian was eager for some action. The brothers can't take it anymore. They want to fight. After the Falcon Emperor stepped out, they all wanted a piece of the action against 8 emperors. Your order is what's keeping the Luo clan's army from marching on the Wraith Emperor and Falcon Emperor's lands and taking them. You're quite impulsive. Zhuo Fan glared. Luo clan's experts are to battle the sacred mountains. Before that, none can ever come out in the open. With the sacred mountains helping the 8 emperors, it will be even harder for us to take the sacred domain's lower areas. Chapter 1256, Dreadful Pressure. Chapter 1256, Dreadful Pressure. Proofreader, Papatunks. The sound of explosions echoed continuously, and the screeching of eagles pierced the ears as ghostly shadows howled. The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor's sudden attack had not only thwarted the demonic emperor's army, but even regained 5 cities. All of this was because the Wraith Emperor had abandoned his own territory and joined forces with the Falcon Emperor. Although they both had few forces after the last great battle, their combined strength was still not to be underestimated, especially with 2 8 emperors leading the charge. Listening to the miserable cries and screams, the Falcon Emperor, riding atop a divine eagle, led the way and turned to Wraith Emperor with a friendly gesture. Brother Wraith, it's rare for you to put aside your territory and come to help me this time. I'm extremely grateful. No need to thank me, Brother Falcon. We can't hold on our own, so we joined forces to fight back. After we take demonic emperor's lands, we can just divide them. A few losses are nothing. With a gray cloud around him, the Wraith Emperor laughed. The Falcon Emperor nodded. Brother Wraith has remarkable insight. With the 2 of us working together, even the demonic emperor can't stop us. This time, I've also informed the others, so we won't get caught off guard like before. It was Zhuo Fan who made a mess of things last time. Once we take the demonic emperor's lands, we need to deal with him to save us the trouble later. The Wraith Emperor's bloodthirst spiked. The Falcon Emperor nodded with a wicked smile. The kid was too cunning to be left by the demonic emperor's side. Bam! The 2 stepped over the corpses to arrive before a city gate. A mere wave blasted it to pieces. The 2 had smug looks. That marked the fall of the demonic emperor's 6th city, quite fast. Whoosh! An evil aura swept them just then. The army rushing into the city felt their hearts seizing and their blood ran cold. The Wraith Emperor frowned. Is this the demonic emperor's aura? It can't be. We saw him only recently. How can his aura be so evil and powerful? The Falcon Emperor was puzzled. The dreaded pressure grew stronger as a familiar and eerie voice echoed. Falcon Emperor, Wraith Emperor, you 2 codgers dare mess with my plans? Surrender now. It's really the demonic emperor. The two of them shouted in shock, looking at the creepy human wrapped in black energy, feeling a sense of urgency and madness from him. How did he end up like this? Zhao Chen struck first, devil palm. Brussels. Countless black palms fell down like meteorites, blasting the ground with booming explosions. Their joint forces howled before exploding in a shower of gore and blood, littering the place in their ghastly remains. Falcon's flight. Wraithful sky. The two emperors didn't take chances, fighting back. Countless eagle cries and shadows filled the skies. Hundreds of them rushed at the gigantic palms. Amidst the explosions, however, their arts broke apart on contact. The emperors shook under the backlash, flung back. They spat blood and looked at Zhao Chen and saw dementia. This can't be. They gasped in disbelief. He overpowered us like nothing. Why is he so strong? What happened? The swirling black aura around Zhao Chen grew more intense. He couldn't contain his glee. Decrepit relics, now you know my strength. I am your executioner today. Whoosh. Zhao Chen charged. Demonic Emperor, don't get cocky. You think you can take both of us? You don't have it in you. You think yourself your master, Zhui Yifan? They sneered, for surrender was still far off. They made signs and two golden auras shot from them. A 500-meter golden falcon and a 100-meter tall golden wraith appeared in the air, their imperial marks. Zhao Chen had a wicked grin. My master was the head of the 8 emperors, and now I shall follow in his footsteps, even surpassing him. From now on, people shall call demonic Emperor Zhao Chen the strongest, not Zhui Yifan. Whoosh! Zhao Chen shook and a black dragon flickering in golden lights shot into the sky. The black dragon was different from before, with a sinister darkness that sent shivers by just looking at it. Why is his imperial mark different? It looks darker and makes me uneasy. The Falcon Emperor was worried. The Wraith Emperor said, "We don't have time for that. No matter how much it changed, we still need to destroy his imperial mark." The Wraith Emperor made a sign and his Wraith imperial mark roared toward the black dragon. The Falcon Emperor gritted his teeth, making the golden falcon imperial mark follow. Bam! As the 3 imperial marks clashed, the deafening explosion shook the world. The Falcon Emperor and Wraith Emperor felt their hearts shuddering and coughed blood. How is this possible? They looked on with fear. How could both of our imperial marks be overpowered? They were also sporting heavy wounds. Looking up, their imperial marks were flung back. Zhao Chen had them shocked to the core. They were all emperors, but this gap was unheard of. Is he on the level of Zhui Yifan? They suddenly shook and felt their hearts seized. Their imperial marks flew back and were now coiled by a black tail, coming from Zhao Chen's dragon. Demonic Emperor, what are you doing? The Falcon Emperor panicked. The imperial mark was their soul. While powerful, it was also prone to being damaged. They were uneasy seeing them captured. They had their imperial mark struggle, but the two couldn't break free. The 2 emperors shivered in fear. The black dragon roared, coiling around the 2 imperial marks tighter. Its sinister eyes shone with desire and malice, just like its owner. What you ask? Zhao Chen wiped his drool. Relics like you dared to stop me from getting my ingredients, so now you'll take their place. As part of the 8 emperors, your power will be a great boon to mine, From his crazed eyes, the 2 felt terror. Falcon Emperor cried out, "Demonic Emperor, don't be rash. You started this while we're just defending. Let's just talk." The Sacred Mountains sent word that they would replace some of the 8 emperors. Causing trouble now will get you replaced. Sacred Mountains? Zhao Chen raised an eyebrow. They're nothing. When I finish my training, they're finished. They think they can replace me? Soon I'll have those fools kneel before me. They're utter garbage, Chapter 1257, Insanity. Chapter 1257, Insanity. Proofreader, Papatunks. Madness. The two couldn't believe their ears. The demonic emperor was insufferably arrogant, on top of being raving mad. The two made more signs. Scattered falcon feathers. Wraith flight. The two muttered, then the golden eagle burst into a dazzling radiance, sending countless feathers in every direction. The wraith howled as gray images shot from its mouth. This made the two imperial marks to shrink, fading out, as the emperors looked for an escape. Zhao Qin sneered, "Humph, you found the wrong person to try those petty tricks on." Devouring demonic dragon. He made quick signs with his hands and the black dragon turned into a black mist, swallowing all the feathers and the gray images. Ugh! The emperors froze and winced. Their hope of fleeing dashed. As they watched the black energy swirling and caging them, the two were grave. Zhao Qin cackled, "Falcon Emperor, Wraith Emperor, you're beneath me. Just give up already and feed my cultivation. It's your honor to be a part of my rise to the sovereign stage, ha!" Underworld. Zhao Qin shouted. A torrent of black mist surged, swallowing the sky. The two emperors shivered under the oppressive blackness. What is this? Why do I feel so weak and in pain? He's tampering with our marks. The Wraith Emperor cursed, "Demonic Emperor, what the hell are you doing to our imperial marks?" Zhao Qin shrugged. "Nothing much, just taking its power. Once I finish, they will dissipate and you along with them, hi. What? The emperors were terrified. They kept making signs with trembling hands in an attempt to break their marks free, to no avail. As their strength waned, Zhao Qin grew stronger. They had only one fate, to be sucked dry. The two plopped on the ground in convulsions as life was drained from their bodies. Zhao Qin felt his own strength surging with a manic grin, relishing in the moment with closed eyes. Sovereign cultivation methods are out of this world. I just need to keep cultivating and I can dominate sacred domain, ha. A sudden cry came out of nowhere as a massive brown figure appeared. It slammed into the black mist and made a huge hole in it. Zhao Qin shuddered, with the brown figure turning out to be a huge eagle. It was now holding in its talons the wraith and the golden eagle. "Well done, my precious." The two emperors felt they could stand again, with the Falcon Emperor praising the creature. The Wraith Emperor lit up. "Is that your spirit animal?" It came right on time. "Let's just get our marks and flee." The Falcon Emperor made a sign and the Wraith Emperor copied him. Whoosh! The marks turned into a golden light and entered their bodies, making them breathe easier. Zhao Qin grimaced, seeing the brown eagle fleeing with killing intent. "Damn pigeon, you're dead." Devil palm. Boom! A gigantic palm 100 meters big, shot for the eagle. It tried dodging but it was too late. The palm grabbed it and the dark energy swirled around it. The emperors watched with terror as it turned to ash. Success. What the hell is the demonic emperor practicing? It's horrible. Zhao Qin recalled the dragon into his body and snickered. "The beast helped you live longer, but not much, humph." Zhao Qin shot for the two. The emperors ran away on the spot, not caring about anything. Is the demonic emperor insane? How did he degenerate so much? A whistle came from behind and a palm caught up to them. "Ha! You still think you can escape me with that speed? Fools, ha! Why is he so fast? He's like another person." Falcon Emperor cried out. Wraith Emperor shot a palm at Falcon Emperor's shoulder. "Sorry, Brother Falcon, I will remember you. I will avenge you later." Bam! The Falcon Emperor stumbled under the attack and Zhao Qin grabbed his neck. "Curse you, Wraith Emperor, using me as bait. You'll get yours." The Falcon Emperor cursed as the Wraith Emperor got further away. The Wraith Emperor was looking grim, blocking out his voice as he fled. "Brother Falcon, sorry, it's better for one to live than both of us dying. Your sacrifice won't be in vain." Whoosh! The Wraith Emperor vanished in the distance. The Falcon Emperor's face shook. Zhao Qin grabbed his neck tighter. "Is this your friendship? I'm touched, hi. Demonic Emperor, don't kill me. I'll do anything, please." Whoosh! The Falcon Emperor was swallowed by the black mist. Minutes later, it dissipated and Falcon Emperor was turned into ashes. Humph, do anything? Do you take me for a fool to believe the 8 emperors? Ha! The demonic emperor cackled. The Falcon Emperor had a tragic end while the Wraith Emperor fled with heavy wounds. The demonic emperor's forces saw their lord's victory and rallied as they cheered. However, the demonic emperor waved his hand and sucked hundreds of people into the black mist, turning them to ashes. The people were frozen in fear. The demonic emperor snapped at them, "Useless fools, fight. Get me more lands and more prisoners. It's either them or you who will become my ingredients, understand?" Weiss, demonic emperor. The forces shivered as they marched on. The previous excitement was gone, now replaced by terror. They used to fight for the demonic emperor to make a name for themselves, now they only fought to stay away from his insatiable appetite. They had to work hard to bring him more prey so they wouldn't end up being preyed on instead. Zhao Chen sneered as he roared. Zhuo Fan watched from afar, shaking his head. Li Jingnan chuckled. "Steward Zhuo, the demonic emperor is getting foolish. He even talks about using people to cultivate." "He isn't foolish, he's mad." Zhuo Fan's eyes shone. Demon transformation art has made his strength spike, making him forget restraint. He will do anything to get more power. When heaven wants you dead, he first drives you insane until you lose all reason. The sacred mountains will pay him a visit soon. We just have to wait for his fall. Li Jingtian nodded. "Any news from the dragons?" Zhuo Fan asked. Li Jingtian bowed. "Steward Zhuo, still nothing. You're impatient as well?" "No, it's that I still need to be patient and lay low." Zhuo Fan left. Chapter 1258 Deals. Chapter 1258 Deal. Proofreader, Papatunks. The demonic emperor defeated the Wraith Emperor and even killed the Falcon Emperor by himself. The enchanting empress cried out in shock at the report inside the jade slip. "That's not possible. I had a hard fight with the Falcon Emperor, so how could he die so easily? And on 2 against 1? Even the Wraith Emperor could hold his own against the Sword Emperor for a while." Mei Sangu was just as confused. "Senior sister, the reality is that the Falcon Emperor died and the Wraith Emperor fled. The demonic emperor had taken over their lands. This proves he is the most powerful of the 8 emperors with his biggest domain." Was it one of Zhuo Fan's ploys that led to the Falcon Emperor's death? The enchanting empress was grave. Mei Sangu shook her head. "Senior sister, I don't think so. The 3 fought in the open, before an entire army. There's no room for deceit on the battlefield. Schemes aren't enough to make up for the 8 emperors' strength either. The kid can set all the traps he wants, but it'll still be impossible for him to force the 2 emperors into a corner with no escape. This only makes the even more suspicious. Did the demonic emperor take some powerful tonic to grow so incredibly strong?" The enchanting empress remained skeptical. She then waved impatiently. "Never mind, we still don't have any clues on young lord or who took Qingqing. I don't have the time to deal with 8 emperors' grudges." "Senior sister is right." Mei Sanga bowed. A disciple walked in and bowed. "Master, another jade slip arrived with a strong aura. We couldn't inspect it. It must be meant for Master's eyes." "Wraith seal?" The enchanting empress jerked. "It's from the Wraith Emperor." The enchanting empress frowned and read it. She shouted in shock. "The Wraith Emperor is calling all 8 emperors to Wraith Bamboo Forest for an important matter. It must have something to do with the war." Mei Sangu added. The enchanting empress nodded and walked out. "Sangu, follow me. Since there's no lead on the young lord and Qingqing situations, we'll see what's going on with the demonic emperor." The enchanting empress took off and Mei Sangu followed her. A month later, the 2 arrived before a dark and eerie bamboo forest, packed tight with guards. There were countless tombstones as well. The enchanting empress reached a pavilion where people were already seated, with the Wraith Emperor acting as host. "Enchanting empress, you're here." The Wraith Emperor stood and cupped his hands, gesturing, "Have a seat." The enchanting empress took the seat and asked, "Did you invite us because the demonic emperor killed the falcon emperor?" Everyone else focused on the wraith emperor's conflicted face with hard stares. The news was just too suspicious and worried them greatly. "Indeed, that's why I called you all here," the wraith emperor lamented. "The falcon emperor had a gruesome fate, not leaving behind even a body to bury." "You aren't asking our help to seek revenge, are you?" the sword emperor asked. The wraith emperor shook his head. "Not at all. There's a long history between us 8 emperors. Friends can become enemies at the drop of the hat. Their demise is their own fault to bear. However, the falcon emperor's death is too strange. We have to figure it out before that lunatic sucks us all dry." Everyone shuddered. "Is the demonic emperor that strong? Rumors say that you too couldn't beat him, and that the falcon emperor died in battle. Is that true? Is there another reason?" "What reason could there be? In a straight-up fight we lost against him." The wraith emperor sighed. "The truth is we were weaker and so one died." Everyone tensed. The sword emperor squinted, finding it the hardest to believe. It threatened his position as the top of the 8 emperors. "If I were to join as well, I'll lose too." "Sword emperor." The wraith emperor chuckled. "Forgive my bluntness, but did you win against Zhuo Yifan?" The sword emperor shook and winced. "Why bring up the dead? It's been thousands of years. Haven't we agreed to lay that to rest?" "Yeah, none of us want to recall that detestable demonic emperor. He was the true top of the 8 emperors, able to take on the rest of us. He was one aloner, but he had the power of entire armies." The wraith emperor took a deep breath. "We have to bring him up since another Zhuo Yifan is here. We have to accept reality before it makes us suffer for it." Their eyes twitched and the sword emperor exclaimed, "Where are you going with this? You mean to tell me Zhao Qin is like his master?" "No, it. Zhuo Yifan's talent was the most incredible outside the sacred mountains. Some said he'd attain peak sainthood if he went to the sacred mountains, if not sovereign stage. Zhao Qin is petty and reckless. He could never attain 1/10 of his master's strength all these years, humph. Sword Emperor, you still can't accept that times have changed for the very worst." The wraith emperor spoke in a grave tone, with the others becoming serious as well. Wraith emperor continued, "This meeting with Zhao Qin was like seeing another person. He used to be cunning and outrageous, but he had restraint. Now he's simply insane, wild and mad. He doesn't care about anything, not even us. He said he'll take on even the sacred mountains." Humph, someone sneered and the others shook their heads. However, the wraith emperor grinned. "He has good reason for saying it. You would feel the same thing if you saw him." The lunatic was confident. His strength grew so much he even killed the falcon emperor. He's catching up to Zhuo Yifan. "Do you have any clues?" "Look for yourself." The wraith emperor took out a pouch, letting it spill on the table. "What do you think it is?" "Dust." "People." "People?" "Yes." The wraith emperor stressed every word. "I found out that he is using people to cultivate. After our battle, he admitted it himself. He only started the war to get more ingredients. The falcon emperor turned to ashes because of this." "What?" Everyone gaped. "Using people to cultivate is forbidden in the sacred domain. It will incur the world's wrath, struck down swiftly. Isn't he afraid that the sacred mountains will hunt him down?" "I told you he doesn't care about them. He also mentioned that he will become a sovereign soon, that the sacred mountains would be nothing by then." "Sovereign!" They all shouted. There had been no new sovereign since ancient times. What gave him the gall to say he will become one? None in the sacred mountains could claim that either. Before becoming one, even a peak saint would end up killed once surrounded. How could he commit such cruel acts? The sword emperor muttered, "There are only 2 ways to become sovereign, through enlightenment, though there has never been any record of anyone achieving it since ancient times, and a sovereign's inheritance." Everyone exclaimed, "He found one." The wraith emperor nodded, "It's very possible. What kind of art could double his strength in such a short time? This proves his arrogance." by getting a sovereign's inheritance, becoming one is only a matter of time. Of course he would hate the sacred mountains. This piece. The enchanting empress noticed something in the dust, taking out a piece of clothing. Wraith Emperor explained, I collected this from the remains of people he used for cultivation. It seems his art turns not only soul and body to dust, but clothes as well. It's similar to the ones I found on young Lord. Maybe. The enchanting empress nodded. So you did this, demonic emperor. You're finished. Once the mountain lord knows. Everyone. The sword emperor's grave voice echoed, we will have to join forces once more, just like when we faced Zhui Yifan, and deal with Zhao Chen. Do you still remember the past? Because of the arrival of a saint, Zhui Yifan destroyed the records and detonated. This time, we must keep this a secret if we want to get our hands on the sovereign's inheritance. Why bother doing someone else's job? Everyone nodded and turned to the enchanting empress in unison. Her face twitched and she finally nodded under peer pressure. Chapter 1259, Back Then. Chapter 1259, Back Then. Proofreader, Papatunks. The sky was dim and drizzling rain fell incessantly. A figure, clad in a black robe, walked on the quiet mountain. Before long, the figure arrived at a pavilion. Looking around, they muttered to themselves, why haven't they arrived yet? Steward Zhua, we've been here waiting for you. 5 people showed up before the man in black. They were the Sword Emperor and 4 more of the 8 emperors. The black robe chuckled and revealed himself to be Zhua Fan. It's rare to have the distinguished 8 emperors give me such an honor, inviting me, the demonic emperor's steward, in secret. Steward Zhua, there's no need for pleasantries. You've done well coming alone. Take a seat. The Sword Emperor gestured at a stone table. The others sat as well. Zhua Fan shook the water off his robe and took his seat. He began, Gentlemen, what is the purpose of this secret invitation? Calling me here discreetly, even avoiding contact with the demonic emperor. You didn't tell him? Of course not. Zhua Fan saw the Sword Emperor nervous and smiled. The demonic emperor is a busy man and need not trouble himself with such trifles. What would be the point of having me then? I am here to address what I can handle. Right? Steward Zhua is a man of great skill, able to deal with many things in his stead. The Sword Emperor nodded. Zhua Fan got to the point. Sir still hasn't answered my question. Why the secret meeting? I'm but a steward and have little power. You're better off talking with the demonic emperor. No, we wanted you. The Sword Emperor snickered. Steward Zhua, before we begin, I would like to know whether the demonic emperor has been strange lately. Strange? No, what's so strange about winning? Zhua Fan raised an eyebrow and the Wraith Emperor grimaced. The Sword Emperor waved his hand. Steward Zhua is a smart man and should know what I mean. I didn't ask you here to pull the demonic emperor's secrets out of you. I'm only curious about his condition. Even you should know his madness and cruelty on the battlefield were terrifying. This madness can spread and you might find it unleashed on his closest aide. Zhua Fan looked confused. Now that the Sword Emperor mentions it, the demonic emperor has been strange lately. Strange how? He's more secretive, spending his days in seclusion, demanding prisoners and growing his lands. The constant war had taken its toll on his forces, but he still wants to go on. I have to say that the ones trying to advise him against it were executed, except me. Why does he want so many prisoners? Is he practicing some sinister art? The Sword Emperor stirred as he asked. Zhua Fan was silent. The Sword Emperor asked something else. Zhua Fan, when did the change start? I'm not sure. Zhua Fan shook his head. Ever since I came from the Nether Sea, I needed a few months to recover from my injuries before returning to Devil Mountain. The demonic emperor has been like this ever since I saw him. After the Nether Sea. The 5 emperors' eyes shone with excitement. The guy must have gotten the Nether Sovereign's treasure. That's what made him so erratic. He has been secretive all this time, wanting it all for himself, just like Shui Yifan. The five's purpose was clear. The enchanting empress said coyly, "Steward Zhua, you must have done well under the demonic emperor, his temper considering." "I got by." Zhua Fan smiled. "The demonic emperor may be harsh on others, he treats me with respect. Why else did all his advisors die except for me?" "Ha." The enchanting empress nodded. "Steward Zhua is a man of great talent. No one would ever wish to part with such an aide. But did you ever think that while he is using you now, the day might come when your value runs out? What do you think he'll do then?" "I believe I'll always be of use." Zhua Fan spoke with pride. The others' faces sank. Despite his poor strength, he is still prideful. The 8 emperors snickered on. "Steward Zhua's wisdom is something to admire. I believe that the 8 emperors, even saints, would cherish a talent such as you. But true power trumps any cunningness. When someone grows beyond everyone else in power, what use would he have of your wisdom?" "What are you saying?" Zhua Fan flinched, his smile slipping. The enchanting empress nodded, driving her point. "Steward Zhua must know why the demonic emperor is so strong. He will only get stronger still, until his use of you would run out. When every enemy is dead, what's the point of keeping a steward? One should have contingencies for the future, Steward Zhua. Do you understand?" Zhua Fan squinted. "Steward Zhua." The Wraith Emperor spoke up. "Your talent makes you better than the 8 emperors despite not being one. Any emperor who has you by their side would be at the level of the 8 emperors. You are the unsung emperor. While the demonic emperor would have long since fallen without you. Last time, the Falcon Emperor and I joined forces and it was enough to deal with him. Are you willing to waste away under someone else only to be cast aside in the end?" Zhua Fan took a deep breath and looked at the sky. "Tell me, what are you planning?" "We hope you'd help us get rid of Zhao Chen." Now that Zhua Fan saw their point, the Sword Emperor grew impatient in his joy. A sudden assault on the demonic emperor would only scare him off into hiding. That's why we have to do it in secret. The demonic emperor is paranoid, making it impossible for an outsider to do anything, especially on Devil Mountain. With so many defensive arrays, not even we could slip in undetected. With the demonic emperor in seclusion and all his forces on Devil Mountain under Steward Zhua's supervision, you just need to clear us a path." Zhua Fan nodded. "What's in it for me?" "The throne among the 8 emperors beckons you." The 8 emperors laughed at his changed stance. "We will elect you as a new emperor among us, even though you're not in the emperor stage, but anyone in your clan can take the seat and be under your control. It will hardly make a difference, and will only allow you to sit with us. The puppet is only for others to see, just an honorary title. Can I trust you?" "We will vow on our Tao hearts." I also told the 6th Sacred Mountain's Lord. He agreed. "Even if they send replacements for the 8 emperors, they'll never touch you. You're protected." The 8 emperors gave a firm nod. "It's a promise none of us have. We might all be replaced, but not you." The others nodded, goading him. "You have all the guarantees you can have, so why hesitate? We're so jealous of you, having the Sacred Mountain at your back. Are you just going to work for the demonic emperor all your life just for him to kill you in the end?" Zhua Fan sneered inside at their urging. The term might look enticing to the ignorant. The chance to remain among the 8 emperors for all your life without the risk of being thrown away. But if you think about it, those old 8 emperors would care about this title once this matter is done. Their eyes are on the sovereign stage, all thanks to a sovereign's inheritance. Why would they waste time on empty titles? These relics sure know how to plot. Zhua Fan was hoping for this. Regardless, the more they yearned for it, the better. So he stroked his chin as he smiled. "When will you act, gentlemen?" The 5 laughed. Zhua Fan grinned a devious smile, his eyes icy. "You must have enticed that rotten disciple back then as well, I bet, Humph." Chapter 1260, Surrounded. Chapter 1260, Surrounded. Proofreader, Papatunks. A month later, inside Devil Mountain, Zhuo Fan came before a stone door. Demonic Emperor, sir, we've taken 3 cities and 2,350 prisoners. Send them in already. A gruff voice echoed, followed by loud booms as the stone door rumbled open. Zhuo Fan walked in. Zhao Chen was panting like a beast, his eyes bloodshot from madness as he roared, "Where are they? Give them to me." Whoosh. People appeared in the dark room out of nowhere, covering the floor. Zhao Chen's eyes were frenzied, setting his black energy on them like a tide to consume them. He was too deep into his madness and thirst to cultivate to notice Zhuo Fan smirking as he left. His own aide didn't even say goodbye. Corpse explosion. A cold shout boomed and the black energy released a terrifying ripple. Zhao Chen jumped to his feet, slow to react. The explosions were endless, all over the black energy, sending deadly shockwaves all around. The blasts were so strong they flattened the top of Devil Mountain. Thick dust spread around, swallowing all the eerie, yet lavish buildings below. Whoosh! The wind whistled as someone moved through the thick dust, landing on the ground and soaking it with his blood. The Wraith Emperor. Zhao Chen raised his sinister face, his eyes bleeding, and roared, "Wraith Emperor, I'm going to pulverize you for what you did." Haha, but what about the others? A cackle responded as 5 figures landed before him, the other 5 emperors. Zhao Chen's eyes flashed, staring hard at them. "So decrepit fools like you ganged up just so to play me? I should have known none of you are worth crap. First you ganged up on my master and now on me." "Zhao Chen, did you already forget about your share when we attacked your master? Don't call us evil when it suits you. You're no better." The Sword Emperor mocked him. The Wraith Emperor cackled, "Zhao Chen, don't be quick to insult others when you're just as vile. It's so poetic if you think about it. This is karma for everything you did to your master, huh?" "Karma?" Zhao Chen exclaimed, "You couldn't have entered my lands without someone finding out, especially on Devil Mountain. There are countless arrays on it that would react to your coming. What is going on?" All looked at him with disdain, turning to one side and making Zhao Chen look there as well. He gasped, "Yes, it is I, Demonic Emperor, sir." Zhuo Fan smirked with a bow, "I'm thankful for all your care, in giving me final word over your lands and Devil Mountain so that I could get the 8 emperors inside. Forgive me." Zhao Chen's face twitched. "Zhuo Fan, you rotten traitor, I've given you everything and this is how you repay me, by selling me out? Goddamn bastard." Zhao Chen shook and a powerful aura shot for Zhuo Fan. A huge black palm loomed over him. Zhuo Fan paled and fled back. The Sword Emperor intervened, striking with his sword, Skybreaker. Whoosh! A blinding light flashed and turned into a 300-meter sword, clashing with the huge black palm. Boom! The sky rumbled under their power, with the Sword Emperor frowning and falling back 10 steps and looking at the other in shock. Zhao Chen shuddered and coughed blood. "Sword Emperor, how is it?" The others rushed to his side, looking at Zhao Chen in worry. It was beyond their expectation to find that Zhao Chen was stronger than him, just like Zhuo Yifan. A sovereign's inheritance is so incredible. The Sword Emperor panted, looking grave. "He's not the same old weak brat. We have to be careful. It's fortunate we acted in time and gave him heavy wounds, or it would be us who'd pay the price later." Zhao Chen raged as he glared. "Zhuo Fan." Zhao Chen's face was covered in blood. "I've been nothing but good to you. Why would you sell me out? I'm wounded because you let the Wraith Emperor fiddle with the corpses and trigger the trap as I absorb them. What's an ungrateful bastard still doing standing here?" Zhuo Fan stepped up. "Demonic Emperor, sir, everyone has a price. I came under your wing for a career, but as you become stronger and stronger, one day you won't need me. I'd avoid being expendable. And the 8 emperors' terms are quite enticing, making me one of them forever. I had no reason to refuse. So, forgive me." "Screw your apology. You're dead for betraying me." Zhao Chen struck with a palm, a black dragon enveloping him. He was going to kill them all, especially Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, not to worry. He can't harm you. The Sword Emperor shouted, shielding a sneering Zhuo Fan. They said the same thing to Zhao Chen then, but didn't they still attack him now? Their promise isn't worth crap. The others surrounded Zhuo Fan to shield him, unaware of his thoughts. When Zhao Chen drew closer, they struck. Zhao Chen, you dare mention others when you betrayed your own master. Compared to Steward Zhuo's act, yours is heresy. You have no right to speak. I can betray while no one else can betray me. Zhao Chen focused all his strength into his palms, making the dragon roar and shoot at them. I'll refine all of you with the nether script, ha! You won't succeed. The Sword Emperor released his imperial mark, Decimate, Supreme Sword. Haunt, Elusive Wraith. Unite Heaven and Earth, Enchanting Jasper. Whoosh! 5 imperial marks took the skies, making contact with the black dragon in a resounding explosion. A hole got punched in the endless darkness, bringing light. The 6 imperial marks coming together felt like the sacred domain was going to crumble. The 5 shuddered back with red faces and blood at their mouths. Zhao Chen got pushed back a dozen steps and spat so much blood, he soaked the ground. The Wraith Emperor laughed, Zhao Chen, we know your cultivation method is great, but you won't get to refine us so long as we don't let you surround our soul. We just need to match your every blow with all our strength. In your condition, you won't be able to take the shock. A few more times and your body will break. Demonic Emperor, give it up, it's over. Chapter 1261. Just who are you? Chapter 1261. Just who are you? Proofreader, Papatunks. Give up. Zhao Chen frowned, his eyes filled with resentment. He stared at them and let out a creepy laughter. Surrender, is it? Never gonna happen. Once I heal, I will come back for each and every last one of you. The last thing you'll see is me, ha. The Sword Emperor sneered, Demonic Emperor, we have you surrounded and you still think of fleeing? Just hand over the cultivation method you got from the Nether Sea and we can forget about this. Cultivation method? I just knew it. The only reason all of you got together is over something to gain, just like last time. Zhao Chen shook his head, well, too bad. I'm not my master, and you won't ever catch me, ha. Zhao Chen released black energy as he laughed. The Sword Emperor made a sign and cut with his finger, you won't get the chance to flee. Whoosh! A blinding white light flashed across the sky, severing the black energy. They watched as it revealed no one inside. Zhao Chen was gone just like that. What just happened? The Sword Emperor stared hard at Zhuo Fan. Steward Zhuo, you're of a brilliant mind and have been by the Demonic Emperor's side the longest. What was that? Zhuo Fan frowned. The Demonic Emperor must have had an escape ready outside of my knowledge. What's certain is that his act was a distraction. He can't just vanish. There must be a tunnel around here somewhere. Yes, Steward Zhuo is right. Find it. The Sword Emperor shouted and everyone began searching. Zhuo Fan looked around as well. It took them a whole 6 hours before the enchanting Empress cried in excitement, come quick! I found it! In a hidden bush, a deep hole was hidden. I'll take the lead, you follow. The Sword Emperor went on without fear, but Zhuo Fan raised a hand. He said, don't bother. He's been gone for 6 hours. We won't catch him. We at least have a trail now. You think he'd leave a clue behind after what happened to him? Zhuo Fan raised an eyebrow. The others frowned, looking dark. The Wraith Emperor said, the Demonic Emperor has to die before he gets us instead. The others' hearts sank. One had to be ruthless to remove all needless trouble, especially with such a powerful expert around. He had to be removed at once. Steward Zhuo, what do you think? Zhao Chen is sure to take his first revenge on you. The enchanting Empress asked. The other turned to him. Zhuo Fan used his smarts to get the 8 emperors to respect him. His opinion mattered. Zhuo Fan smiled, he can't run anyway. What does that mean? We can't use this tunnel to find him, but think of his situation. With him badly wounded, No matter how well he hides his tracks, he'll need to heal. And with his cultivation method, he needs people. The enchanting empress lit up. We just need to keep a close eye on the people in every area. The moment many are missing, then that's where he must be. Zhuofan nodded. That's the idea. They all nodded with smiles. Steward Zhua is brilliant. It's good he's weak, or he'd be the strongest among us, with none his match. Let's split up and search while paying attention to the population. The Sword Emperor proposed and the others agreed, scattering. Only Zhuofan was left behind with a smirk. A strict inspection began across the 8 emperors' lands. With Zhao Chen missing and the 5 emperors' support, Zhuofan took over all of demonic emperors' land's affairs. Every elite of the Luo clan got sent to grab all the power, taking it over. All now listened to Zhuofan's orders. A month went by in peace, when shocking news came from the border between the demonic emperor and enchanting empress lands. A whole city was gone. The 5 emperors shuddered and rushed to inspect. Zhuofan was going someplace else. Russell. 5 miles from Devil Mountain, in a valley overgrown with fauna, a frail figure struggled to walk through the damp forest with shaky steps, barely reaching a cave's. The man shook the water off him and took a deep breath in excitement. His gaunt finger rubbed a ring, filled with satisfaction. I just knew you'd come here. The man shuddered at the voice, looking forward to seeing someone leaning on the cave wall and enjoying tea. Zhuofan. Yes, demonic emperor, sir. Zhuofan sneered. The gaunt figure's messy hair blew to the side and revealed a raging expression. He was looking far thinner now, but with a thicker black energy around him, just like a monster. How did you find me? I left no trace to this hideout. Easy. Zhuofan smiled. Didn't you used to come here in your younger days? You'd start crying after every beating you got, hiding from the world. Yet someone was always by your side. Zhao Chen gasped in fright. How do you know about that? Zhuofan smiled and sipped his tea. Zhao Chen grew dark then mocked. Steward Zhua, you're alone? Why yes, have you seen anyone around here? Ah, how ridiculous. Where did your crafty mind go? You actually came alone to find me? You're nothing but a bug. You found me but now you'll die here. Do I need to tell anyone? You can't kill me, huh? Zhuofan said. Zhao Chen gnashed his teeth. I can't? Humph, I kept you alive for so long because of your talent. But now you'll pay for your betrayal. Devil palm. Zhao Chen struck with a 10-meter large black palm. The eerie pressure bore on Zhuofan, making the entire cave tremble along with the mountain. Zhuofan merely waved it off. Whoosh. The black palm vanished. Zhao Chen jerked and the black dragon came out this time, his imperial mark. Zhuofan flicked. With a muffled sound, the dragon was sent flying into Zhao Chen and forcing the latter a dozen steps back. He coughed blood and shuddered from the wounds. Ichao. Why you're at Qi condensation stage? Wrong, I'm at peak emperor stage like you. Zhuofan sipped his tea. Zhao Chen's eye twitched. Peak emperor? Snow. There's no way you could disregard my attack if that were so. I'm one of the mighty 8 emperors. Zhuofan snickered. But since you asked instead, I'll tell you. Be it the Wraith Art or Devil Palm, they all stem from my teaching you. Breaking them can't be easier. Zhao Chen's mind shuddered, looking at Zhuofan like he saw a ghost. Who the hell are you? Chapter 1262. What the hell? Chapter 1262. What the hell? Proofreader, Papatunks. Who do you think? Zhuofan's eyes shone as he stared at Zhao Chen. Zhao Chen's face twitched, stammering. That's not possible. Master died, detonating his soul. He can't be alive. True, Zhui Yifan couldn't have survived with his soul destroyed, could he? Zhuofan smiled. He died, but his yearning lived on, passed on to a dying youth in a strange coincidence as the second Zhui Yifan. No, it should be just his thoughts that passed on. In the end, Zhuo Fan is not Zhuo Yifan. Zhao Chen's face twitched, looking confused. What does that mean? Are you Zhuo Yifan or Zhuo Fan? Both. The Zhuo Yifan of before is the Zhuo Fan of today. Zhuo Fan mocked. Fool, didn't you always want to know the 9 Serenities' secret records? This is one of its skills, yearning rebirth. Humans aren't just flesh and soul, but also of mind and desires. You are what your heart is. Zhao Chen shuddered, staggering back into the wall. Why, your master? Zhuo Fan smirked. Spare me, master. I was forced to do that. They made me. Please let me live. Zhao Chen plopped to the ground and kowtowed and whined. They are the ones who you should take your anger on, not me. Give me any command and I shall follow it. But Zhao Chen kept knocking his head on the stone. Zhuo Fan merely smiled, yet his expression was devoid of sympathy. Once Zhao Chen got to his 100th banging, Zhuo Fan sighed. Idiot, who told you I wanted revenge on you? Master, why you let me go? Zhao Chen perked up with hope. Zhuo Fan grinned. We're master and disciple. I know they lured you after I've experienced their tactics. I could never blame you. Master, thank you so much. Zhao Chen went back to banging his head in gratitude. Zhuo Fan continued. Well, did you like cultivating the demon transformation art? The demon transformation art? Zhao Chen was puzzled. Isn't it the Nether script? Why? The demon transformation art is 9 Serenities' secret record's highest cultivation method. As a seeker of the demonic path, I of course would train in this cultivation method. How could I pass on to my disciple the Nether Sovereign's art? Oh, I see. Master passed on to me the 9 Serenities' secret records. Thank you, Master, thank you. Zhao Chen was overjoyed. Whether the Nether Sovereign or demonic sovereign, it was all the same to him. Zhuo Fan said, You haven't answered me. How was the cultivation method? It's incredible, Master. My strength multiplied in just a few months. I believe in just a few more, I'll become a saint. Zhao Chen laughed with pride and madness. His face looked eerie with all the black energy around him. Zhuo Fan nodded. Whoosh. Zhao Chen went this way, no mistake. Look at the spiritual signature. Only he could leave such thick demonic energy. He must be nearby. It's them. Zhao Chen panicked. How did they find me? I'm sure I've removed all traces. Idiot. Zhao Chen found Zhuo Fan's gaze to be that of a scolding parent. Master, what can I do for you? Didn't you say you wanted to obey me? Now go and kill them to redeem yourself. Zhuo Fan spoke, atone for your betrayal and we will once again be master and disciple. Zhao Chen was thrilled. Yes, master, understood. He rushed out on the spot, under Zhuo Fan's gaze. You never change, foolish disciple. Sword Emperor, you fools actually came to find me. Now you shall all die, ha. The Sword Emperor's team was looking around the mountain when Zhao Chen shouted with confidence, covered in a black energy so thick it wilted the nature around him. The 5 gasped at his appearance, going at him with full power. Zhao Chen, hand it over or today will be your last. Planning on stealing my cultivation method? Why not die instead, ha? Zhao Chen disregarded the 5 in his madness, unleashing black palms at the 2 like rain, devil palm. Sky breaker. Dazzling petals. Wailing wraith. The 5 emperors struck back as well. The earth shook and the sky trembled under their might. Rocks fell in the black cave while the mountains around the area were reduced to dust. Plop. Under the huge backlash, each of them had their meridians strained. The Sword Emperor's group coughed blood and looked weakened. Zhao Chen also spat foul blood, but he still cackled, jumping back at them with all he had, despite his wounds. The devil palms finally thwarted the 5 emperors, with Zhao Chen looming over the defeated with a smug grin. I just have to kill them and then Master will forgive me. With the demonic sovereign's cultivation method, the world will be ours, he he. Blood rushed out of Zhao Chen's mouth as he spoke, soaking him in it. His mind was focused on the Sword Emperor's group, closing in for the kill. The guy's totally lost it. The enchanting empress looked tense. He's badly wounded yet still wants to fight us. He doesn't care about death. That's what makes it so frightening when fighting lunatics. You never know what they're capable of. The Sword Emperor's face shook, looking at Zhao Chen in fear. What's wrong with him? There's no order to his actions, only savagery as he stakes his life. With that cultivation method, he should be cautious, so why risk himself? Why has he gone mad? Damn it, I don't want to die at the hands of a deranged cultivator. The five watched as Zhao Chen got closer and closer. Zhao Chen had lost his mind, showing his bloody teeth as he stepped forth. Die, old fools, ha! The malevolent and terrifying Zhao Chen up and froze in mid-strike. The five watched with horror as black energy rushed around him. From inside, wails of agony and terror leaked, like that of a beast. Ah! Zhao Chen flayed on the ground in pain, before the shocked faces of the emperors. What's wrong with him? Zhao Chen's words left them baffled and shivering. Master, what's happening? Save me, master. Chapter 1263, Death. Chapter 1263, Death. Proofreader, Papatunks. Master? What is he talking about? It can't be Zhuo Yifan, right? The enchanting empress raised an eyebrow. Didn't he die thousands of years ago? Why would he be calling his name? The Sword Emperor looked hard at the black energy and the flaying figure. I got it. His cultivation had been taken so extreme he went insane. He must be feeling guilty about Zhuo Yifan and is hallucinating. He wants to atone and that's why he calls out. The others found it logical. Zhao Chen had betrayed his master and gotten him killed. He had risen to his master's position as the new demonic emperor, but he had always been feeling guilty for his actions. So this is because his cultivation went astray. They all enjoyed Zhao Chen's torment and agony, even as he squirmed. Zhao Chen wasn't spewing nonsense out of delusions, but really asking for his master's help. However, he should be thankful Zhuo Fan didn't finish the degenerate himself. Idiot! Zhuo Fan sent in Zhao Chen's ear, who flopped on the ground. Master, save me. Can you tell me now what you discovered cultivating the demon transformation art? Help did not come, only Zhuo Fan's question. Zhao Chen was confused. Zhuo Fan said, now you know why I didn't give you the 9 Serenities secret records. You're too greedy and without restraint. The demon transformation art speeds up cultivation, but do you think it'd be easy just by stealing others' efforts? Every time you steal, you must refine and clean your yuan qi, especially when it comes to taking a person's soul and regrets. It would affect your body and eat you from the inside. I was wrong, master. I shouldn't have rushed it. Please save me. No, you're only half wrong. Zhuo Fan smiled. Even if you trained right, the demon transformation art wouldn't show its effect on you. Because it isn't complete. What? I omitted the cultivation method's very first warning, to renounce your old cultivation before starting anew. Zhuo Fan sighed. The demon transformation art wants you to absorb another person's cultivation, and for that, you must start afresh to succeed, or the old will mingle with the new and make progress impossible. The more you absorb, the more you err and the stronger the backlash. Then you, Zhao Chen exclaimed. Zhuo Fan smirked. Yes, I feared you'd not live up to my expectations, so I tinkered with it. You never had the chance of using it right. On the other hand, you're impatient and would have failed even if I gave you the real deal. I did it just to be safe. Huh, so you came to take revenge on me. Zhao Chen cackled as he lay on his back, the dark energy surrounding him and disintegrating his legs. The pain was excruciating, but he had empty eyes full of despair. The 5 emperors were shocked. Now what's going on? Why did he stop? Zhao Chen's expression was flat. Master, you have the strength to take revenge on all the 8 emperors. Why did you go to such lengths? Fool, you're my disciple. It's your duty to have a taste of the same death I had. Also, letting you practice the demonic sovereign's cultivation method is to show you my inner conflict back then. Or you'd still curse me for being selfish even in death and that you were right to betray me. Zhao Chen's mouth trembled as he teared up. The demonic sovereign's cultivation method is enticing but also deadly. It looks fast, but it tests your patience. Without self-control, the ending is the same one I'm having. The demon transformation art was the demonic sovereign's top cultivation method, truly demonic. I should have cleared my mind of all demons first before even attempting it. Master, I'm sorry. Zhao Chen cried in regret. Zhou Fan sighed. Despite being late, you understand in the end. You can give the devil's fruit to others. Master, you trust me that much? Fool, you think I don't know you? What kind of demonic emperor would you be if not taking others down with you? Yeah, the revenge isn't just for me alone to carry. Zhao Chen sneered and resisted the pain as he made his ring flash to reveal a jade slip. Let me help you, master, in taking revenge, by dragging all these fools to hell. You're the only one I ever respected, master, while holding hatred for them. Whoosh. Zhao Chen lifted his hand and threw the jade slip, right before the five's eyes. They all looked puzzled. Didn't you want it? Just like thousands of years ago, humph, Zhao Chen let out an eerie smirk. The others scrambled to get it first. The Sword Emperor, the eldest and the most hurt, turned out to be the fastest, holding the jade slip to his chest. The other four looked ready to fight him for it. Hey, Sword Emperor, don't hog it all. We're in this together. Sword Emperor, hand it over, or you'll be sorry. Wait. The Sword Emperor shouted, startling them and barking, we don't know if it's real or not. Let me check it first. The others agreed, but their eyes never left the old man out of their sights, afraid he might make off with it. The Sword Emperor scanned the jade slip and his eyes lit up. Yes, it's the nether script he shouted about. What are you waiting for? Let me see. The Wraith Emperor and the others were too impatient, but the Sword Emperor held a hand up. Don't get too excited. We need to clarify things first. Save it and hand it over. Do you plan to have it all for yourself? Stop spouting nonsense. Of course we must clarify things. Why did he just give it to us? Zhui Yifan took it to his grave. Ugh. The other looked at Zhao Chen with doubts. Zhao Chen had the black energy disintegrating him still. There's nothing odd about it, but it's the real deal. Or do you want my ring? You'll take it anyway once I die. As I am now, I can't take the cultivation method with me like my master did. Might as well give it to you so the sovereign's inheritance isn't lost. Zhao Chen threw them his ring. They scanned it and found it empty. The Sword Emperor nodded. All are honest before death. Zhao Chen, you're wiser than your master. What? As if. I just want to know what you plan to do with it. The Sword Emperor gave him a look. Why do you want to know? The nether script is a sovereign cultivation method, but there's evil hidden inside, a hungry devil for thousands of years. My death is warranted, but who among you will be next? Zhao Chen cackled like a demon from hell as the black energy turned him to dust. The five shivered, not understanding Zhao Chen's last cry. Not that it mattered, since they had their wish, a sovereign's inheritance at long last. All their eyes were consumed by greed. Sword Emperor, each of us will hold a copy of it and cultivate. You can't. The Sword Emperor refused. The other four glared at him. You want it all for yourself. You saw Zhao Chen's end. Do you want to end up the same? The Sword Emperor pointed at the ashes. The others were solemn. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.